Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment. I'm Alexis Soto here, podcast that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. This is Friday, March 27th of 2026. This is the first time we're recording on a Friday in a very, very long time. I think you might notice it a little bit. Some of us might be a little bit more energetic. I think you might also notice the fact that some of us are present, but as opposed to not being present. But again, we'll get to that in just a bit. Obviously, there's so much movement, so many news items coming out of Hollywood. Today, we're going to be primarily talking about two or three movies. Project Hail Mary, which is a box office hit, thank God. Send Help, which was also kind of a sleeper box office hit. And also Marty Supreme, which in and of itself was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, A24 movie around the world. So, wow, we're talking about some pretty good movies that were also box office hits. When does that ever happen? That's actually pretty amazing. As far as trailers are concerned, we have 4 that came out in the last few weeks, which include Spider-Man Brand New Day, Dune Part 3, Moana, and Harry Potter. And some news stories. Universal is changing its strategy from 17 days of exclusivity window for theaters before it goes to PVOD. Now it's going to change from 17 days to 5 weekends. We'll see if that has any impact at all. Which, by the way, those who have been listening for a long time would know that is something we have been championing for a long time now. Also, OpenAI shuts down Sora. And Meta and YouTube have been found liable in civil court for intentionally making addictive things. All that more, and here on Red Spotlight 533. I'm joined today by, of course, our tried and true, our steady hand, the person who's always here to keep the lights on and is in charge of all of the work behind the scenes. David Francisco, obviously. And today I'm also joined for the first 2026 appearance of Peter Martinez. Peter Martinez has a lot of thoughts on his mind. He said just a few minutes before we were on air that he is going to say his piece. In the last podcast, we teased that he was going to come on here and present his case, and he is going to be allowed to say whatever he needs and whatever he wants. I will point out that I, for one, am glad to have Peter on the show. I lament the fact that it is becoming all too rare of an occasion. You know, I know that he finds it a bit humorous, and some of you may find humorous what he has to say, but I also am a little bit distressed that in this is his first appearance in over 10 episodes, which is a pretty long stretch, even by his standards. There literally have been 10 recordings in 2026, and this is the first time he is on. Whereas Alexis Moreno has been on just about every single last one of them, which that should put things into perspective because she finds time to leave the country every weekend, as we've been saying for a long time. And I also just want to point out that since the month of September, I believe this is only Peter's 6th recording, which that's nice. In the span of 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, only 5 recordings. So I don't bring that up to rub it in anybody's face. I bring it up in hopes that, we might get more appearances with Peter on this show, because I really do think he was a big part of what made this such a interesting place to come back on here and talk endlessly about. This show has only been running for over 500 episodes. He joined the show in episode 17 for the his first appearance with me and Kyle. It was we were reviewing Deadpool. Over 10 years ago, February 2016, that was the first appearance of Peter on this show. And it was never the same. For better or for worse, depending on how you would want to put that. But I'm happy that he's here. I think he's happy that he's here too. I think a lot of things are going to be said, but that's what it is. That's our show, guys, for today. Thank you for joining us. Peter, you want to go ahead and say the first spoken words? This is the first recording that you've been on since late December, after we walked out of Avatar Fire and Ash. So go ahead.
Everything you have heard in the last 5 minutes has been theater. Complete theater. You thought the mainstream media was full of shit, okay? Here is where the real bullshit slides, okay? Someone very much does not want me on this show, and they have spent months pushing me out of this show aggressively. I won't say who, Alexis Soto. This is not their first. This is not their first time doing this. He talks about, I joined at 17 episodes. What you would know if you've listened this whole time is that there was another host at that time by the name of Kyle. Kyle, and he can back me up on this, was aggressively pushed out of this podcast. He started it. He was the host. Alexis came in, completely stole the podcast. I wanted to stand by Kyle. Alexis threatened me. He threatened my life. And only that reason, I did not back up Kyle. And in the subsequent months, last few months, Mr. Alexis J. Soto has, I don't know if he's threatened. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the seasons changing. But he is, he's doing what he's usually does again. And he has attempted to squeeze me out of the podcast. I have asked every episode to be on. He aggressively tells me, he makes up some excuse why I can't be on. And it's like, well, okay, I'm not going to push. And then inevitably, I'm just not on. I had to pull a lot of strings to be on this episode here. And hopefully by me, getting ahead of this and letting the audience know what's going on, it'll prevent future issues like this. So yeah, that's my truth. That's the reality of the situation.
It's a complete fabrication that you asked to be invited to any of this. I literally have said on multiple occasions that, and I even said this off air to David and Alexis last time. It's like, look, you can't expect me to always say, hey, what we're doing this and what we're doing that. Especially me, if you really want to be on the show, you would have reached out. You said that you reached out.
I attempted to host today, and you shut that down.
David can say, the laugh that he just had out of his face tells you otherwise. I literally gave you the opportunity to host this show.
Is just hilarious.
And you said that you will never do it, and you won't do it. That's what you said. Okay.
No one was recording. No one knows.
As far as what we were recording was in 2018, in the middle. I want to say in July. Kyle Lira messaged me personally, and he asked if I could take over the reins as host of the show because he was going to focus the majority of his time on the Fantasy Fair podcast.
Okay. Display that evidence right here.
I want to make an announcement that our fearless leader, Kyle Lira, has opted to take a sabbatical. He is taking some time off from the Red Spotlight podcast. And as you've noticed, he and Alexis Moreno, well, I guess I was going to call her the she whose name should not be mentioned, but I guess I just mentioned it. But our colleague Alexis Moreno, they have teamed up and they've been working on a slew of Disney-related projects, which I find the timing suspect because I couldn't be more disgusted with Disney right now. But if you're going to pick a time to talk about Disney, okay.
They are part of the obsessive cult that would give their life to just the Church of Disney.
Well,
Wasn't it funny how he got really tired of like just talking about Disney and the same stories? So his solution was to create an entirely Disney-centric podcast in addition to this one. Isn't that hilarious?
I am not here to talk about the creative decisions and air our dirty laundry into the public. You can
That's
say what
always
you want,
fun.
Peter,
Come
but
on.
the Fantasy Fair podcast was created by Kyle, and he has chosen to dedicate the girth of his time into
That's where his black mass is.
creating more content for that.
Commences.
In the meantime, Peter and I will keep you plenty of company, not liking Disney very much.
Yes.
But that's just how we feel.
So what you're saying is, in order to not betray his God, he's had to leave the podcast, so he won't be caught talking negatively about Disney.
Well, you can speculate,
Okay,
but
I will assert, not speculate.
what I find hilarious about this predicament is that there'll now be two main podcasts on the channel. One that seemingly is anti-Disney and one that's seemingly pro-Disney.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
In the video.
I have the evidence. I can put
Right
it.
here.
I mean, do you want me to? Okay, let me. David, can you put the timestamp? Where are we right now? Put the timestamp. This is it 9:20? Where are we?
9:30.
Is that where we are? Or 9:20? Oh, 9:30. Okay, I'm gonna find the actual screenshot, and it'll be right there where Peter said. Okay.
Okay.
I'll also accompany other screenshots too. That should. I think. You're not fond of that idea all of a sudden, Peter? You don't think
Right here? What is it? 10 o'clock? Not 10 o'clock. 10 minutes in? I'll provide my own. I'll message Mr. Kyle Lira, get his side of the story. We can put it right here.
Yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, in the middle of 2018, around, I want to say episode 112, 113, when we're talking about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Ant-Man and the Wasp, as well as James Gunn being fired from Guardians 3 during Comic-Con in San Diego. All of that was happening, and that's around the time where Kyle asked if I could take over for the show. And that's the way that it's been ever since. So, yeah. Yeah. And I did also say, as recently as 5 episodes ago, that you were specifically asked to be on a show, and you refused the invitation.
See, what everyone here doesn't know is that there's an Alexis that you see in front of the screen. And then
okay, no, I'm sorry. That is the most bullshit thing I've ever heard. And look, no, seriously, I am the same everywhere with everyone. Like, please get the fuck out of here with that kind of assertion. That is absolute insanity. Great. All right. Do we have more, or can we actually get to the real show?
Time will vindicate all.
All right, guys. Well, this is the thing. There's obviously a lot that we're going to get into tonight and a lot to be brought up to speed on. Last time on the show, we talked about the Chalamet drama, the Academy Awards, as well as Pixar's seemingly new era of where they're just going to cuck themselves to cater to the right wing. So good luck with that. I think it's fair to give Peter the opportunity to speak his piece on any of those things if he so wishes.
On what specifically?
Either the Academy Awards, Timothy Chalamet, or the Pixar Hoppers thing, or all three.
The Academy Awards were fine. I enjoyed him. Chalamet, he probably needed a little bit of a humbling. But
That wasn't a little bit though.
That wasn't a little
It's
bit. It was a
He'll
bit
be
aggressive.
He'll be back next year.
He'll be back this year. What are you talking about? He's gonna have a big hit. It's
next
like,
year. The Oscars is next year. He'll be back next year. But the reason why people like backlashed against him was the stupidest fucking thing on planet Earth. This is why celebrity is such a cancer. They worship people only because they can't wait till they can tear them down, and it's fucking gross. And it's stupid. The whole thing was stupid. But he's gonna get that Oscar. He'll be back next year. Will it happen next year? I don't know, but he'll definitely be back. And what was the other one? Oh, Disney Pixar. I mean, just stupid. They're probably just gonna invest more in sequels. I don't want to.
Probably. That's what they're doing. They literally said out loud. That's what they're doing. It's like it's yeah.
I didn't want to get into this like today or right into it, but with the project, our favorite YouTube channel that's ever existed, Beyond the Trailer, with Grace Randolph. Her reaction to Project Hail Mary being so financially successful was Disney should look to adapt Pixar movies to live action. No one does it like her. Absolute insanity. I hate it and love it at the same time.
I don't even think that description is giving it the full justice of the insanity, because it was a pronged thing. She released a review of Project Hail Mary, which in and of itself was batshit crazy. Because she came to the conclusion that the film was promoting AI relationships. That was the big headline from that review, right?
Which is
David,
insane. It's like literally doing the opposite.
Yeah.
She was very cool on it. Like, she just didn't understand it. She didn't see the hype for it, and she was already taking in pre-established biases, saying that it wasn't going to resonate with people. Then what happens? It makes money, and she changes her tune, so much so that she goes the other direction and says that because she feels that Project Hail Mary has Pixar, quote-unquote Pixar vibes, that Disney should now look to adapting Pixar animated films into live action. David, you look so confused, and believe me, we were too. No one is doing it like her, because I don't know where the logic comes from with any of what I just said. All of that was just absolute chaos and insanity.
Yeah, it just sounds like that. Insane.
What Pixar movies can you even adapt into? You can't adapt Toy Story.
Yeah.
You can't adapt to Bug's Life.
The Incredibles, I guess, is the obvious one.
Yeah, I guess. You can't adapt Cars. Coco? Have a lot of little Mexicans running around? I don't know. But yeah, it's just funny. It's very funny. No, Disney's been bleak for a while. I don't know.
Can I ask you specifically on like so Pete Docter specifically said that they make movies, not therapy, which seemingly is just like catering to the new propaganda that's being brought down. And then also he said that he basically admitted to toning down overtly gay or LGBT coded storylines in service of not wanting to make families uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about that since our last podcast, and I was like, hold on. The first time I've ever like knew about transgenders was in Family Guy. And I was a kid when the episode came. I don't know if you guys know which episode I'm talking about. It was someone where Quagmire's dad transitions.
Yeah.
And I was pretty young when I saw that. And
is that episode that old?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Family Guy is that old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
I know, but I didn't realize that episode was.
Well, what season would it have come on for David? Like season 5? Season 6?
Let me see.
A Family Guy? I mean,
No one watches Family Guy in seasons. They watch it in YouTube Reels. Okay.
Well, no, I just saw it as random episodes on TV.
It was new at the time, I want to say. I believe it probably was in like the first revival after the DVDs brought it back to life, and Fox was like, never mind, I think this is actually going to be good for us, so we'll renew it for another few seasons, and then it just never ended up being canceled. I think generally the first 10 seasons of Family Guy people watch the most, and now it's just, well,
it's whatever. But that was season 8, episode 18, airing in 2010, which I think. Oh wait, I think
that is older.
2010, I would have been 15 years old. You would have been younger.
13. So
I mean, that's still. I mean, you're an adolescent, youth. So it's something.
Yeah. Either way, though, like either way, though, that's like the first time I ever saw just that in any form of medium, and I wasn't like confused about it or anything like that. I was just kind of like, okay. Honestly, it would barely even cross my mind. Like the fact that I even remembered it when I first saw it.
The fact that came out then wasn't that big of a deal, right? Because it was just,
and kids were for sure watching that show.
Yeah, obviously. I think the reason why it's a big deal now is because big business has realized they can get away with whatever they want, with President Trump and the right-wing movement, that when he won the re-election in 2024, they sensed a vibe shift, and they just went all the way to meet, alongside, idiotic shareholders who were already conservative to begin with, but they're like, oh, they're telling us go woke, go broke, so we got to like take out the gay because that's why our movies are not doing well. It totally isn't why they're not good. It's because they're including LGBT storylines, and ultimately, that's just kind of where it is now. That this was never a big deal until they made it a big deal.
No, yeah.
So that's just kind of and it's not just like LGBT stuff. It's like when we take into consideration Hoppers, we've all seen the movie, and I think we would all be very much of the mind that despite what it wants us to think, that it's this big statement of like environmentalism, clearly what happened is a lot of the ideas of this movie were so toned down that it ends up being a rather confused mess by the end of it. Peter, just to bring you up to speed on our review for Hoppers last time, I gotta tell you, I was rather struck with how little ultimately our group cared for it. Alexis she went guns blazing at this movie. She literally called the animation quality absolute shit. It's actually a funny review if you want to take a listen to it when it comes. It's already out on audio, but by the time that this drops, so will the video version of it. But it generally was not. We didn't really care for it as a group. We all had moments where we enjoyed it, as you did, Peter. We talked about this after we watched the movie, that we found enjoyable moments to be had, but ultimately it ended up feeling like a complete. This is what it was. Peter, to you and me, we were thinking of like, this would be something along the lines of DreamWorks. We had, comparisons to Wild Robot in our heads, not great comparisons, obviously. And then Alexis and David they were getting what they felt Illumination vibes. The point is, we all were watching a Pixar films and we're being reminded of other animation studios that are quite known for being lesser than Pixar. And that is not a good comparison to start off with. So, which is funny because if you look at the consensus for this movie, it's beloved. It's like people are loving it. They're going nuts for it. People are going crazy. I literally look for like reactions of like online traffic, and generally speaking, I don't know if it's beloved. Maybe that might be going too far, but people generally
enjoyed it enough.
I mean, they're not being overly critical about it as they were with Elio. Mm-hmm.
they were being very overly critical of over all other things, and you want to have those critiques, have those critiques. What I'm saying is, I think that this film is not beyond reproach, right? There are things about it that need to be discussed, and they're not included in these reviews. It's just generally good vibes, had a good time, it was fun. Some were like, oh, made me cry. A lot of the headlines from a lot of the people who I follow were like, this is a return to form for Pixar. This is one of the best Pixar films in years. That's the consensus for this movie.
I don't think that's the consensus.
Okay, well, you can throw whatever I said out the window if you want, but clearly, if it was the consensus, you clearly don't feel that it is a return to form or it's the best Pixar movie in years. So,
Hoppers. Well, it is pretty high actually.
Right?
3.9. That's pretty crazy.
That's too high. 3.9?
Yeah, that is pretty crazy high. I don't know, maybe it is. I even told you before, I don't know if it was before or after the film, I can't gauge kids films. Cuz it's like the movie, like no one talks about it, it comes out, it makes $1.3 billion. It's never talked about again. To this day, I don't know what Moana 2 was about. I never saw it, but usually a movie that makes that much fucking money, I'm just tangentially able to piece together what the fucking movie's about, you know? I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't think I've heard a single song from that movie. It came, it made all the money, it's gone.
Despite the songwriters saying on social media when it came out that a month from then, people would be singing the songs everywhere.
To be fair,
nowhere to be found.
What
nowhere
the
to
fuck
be
else
seen.
are they supposed to say? I mean, I guess to me, it's entertaining enough. If you have kids and you need to pass some time, and you don't want them, you know, smearing shit on the walls, so it's like sit down and look at this movie. You could do much worse, absolutely.
And they have. That's why Illumination is a studio.
They absolutely have. But no, yeah, the animation, that was maybe the biggest disappointment to me.
It was so bad. I gotta tell you. I mean,
lame.
It was the lamest animation. I think I gotta tell you, and this is a unique thing. When we were talking about the movie last time, I was like saying, look, by the time I get to a Pixar film, I expect great animation, a really good score, and very likable characters. I think across the board, it just kept missing. The animation is maybe the biggest thing because even the bad ones that are so like not really all there had amazing animation. Like I could tell you, Good Dinosaur had beautiful animation. It's one of the least liked movies of Pixar's canon. I even said Cars 2 had better animation than Hoppers. Hell yeah, it did. It had legit action sequences in that, and it looked far better. So I don't know what the fuck happened, but like Daniel Chong, maybe he's just not it. So Daniel Chong, this is his first Pixar movie. Before he directed 3 Pixar short films, all based on Mater the Tow Truck, and then before he's only other right. Okay. And the only other credit he has was the We Bare Bears or We Care Bears, whatever it is from the Cartoon Network. Yeah, We Bare Bears. That's his main thing that he's known for.
I enjoy We Bare Bears, but
so
this is...
yeah. So I mean, but to be fair to Daniel Chong, like I don't know if it could be a combination of him like maybe not having the sauce. We've seen that far too often from Pixar, but it also very well could be studio interference in the form of like, hey, this is a bit too gung-ho with your messaging. You want to like bring it back. Because I'll tell you, the part that felt the most corporate was the Gavin Newsom coded mayor character ended up like not being the real villain and just ended up being like, we just got to get along, guys. We just got to convince him harder. And he's not really a bad guy, even though the movie specifically states that he broke the law to literally push animals out of their land just to win re-election.
Yeah. That's where you can feel the corporate sort of... Well, we can't make him the bad guy, like.
Mm.
And I mean, I understand it's tied to like the overall theme, but it's like you also still have a bad guy. It's the bug because people don't feel that bad about squishing bugs. It was fine. It was fine. Like, I don't know if anyone would give a shit if it was a DreamWorks movie.
You know what? DreamWorks has made better movies.
Mhm.
I mean, like, we could name that. That's actually a really interesting situation because didn't DreamWorks release a trailer this week for a new animated movie?
Yeah.
And it didn't get much play, did it?
Nah,
Wow, I guess a lot of people do really like it. Holy shit.
Well, Hoppers, yeah, I'm telling you.
That is
Isn't it?
surprising
I would
to
say
me.
it's eye-opening, right? Like, and I think
Yeah.
you're right when you say it's hard to gauge kids' films, especially. And this is what I said in the beginning of last podcast, where I just can't I can't anymore be on the same page because like this happens too many times. Moana 2, Inside Out 2, and Zootopia 2. Not just from the parents who are going to and spending money to be a babysitting service, right? But the fucking critics, the ones who know better or should know better, quite frankly, were like, oh, this is amazing. This is wonderful. This is so worth your time.
Mhm.
And then I watch them and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I will always give credit. It did some really funny, really weird shit.
Yes. That's the
moving
best
into
part of the
third
movie.
act.
That's the best part easily.
It falls off the rails in the best way possible. But even including that, it just kind of rounds out to be like an okay film.
Yeah.
It's an okay way to spend some time. But yeah, people,
I mean,
guess.
it's like we said, they're not being as critical with this as they were with Elio. Like, for some reason, Elio had to be it didn't make me cry, it didn't make me cry. It didn't give me that
because it had a
Pixar.
little queer kid as the lead.
I mean,
But I mean, this is the thing too. And Peter, you weren't around for our conversation. Well, you did. You were on our Elio review, but Peter and I went at length about because we did a lot of analyzing of how the movie was being talked about. And the thing with Elio is people had these really sky high expectations. Number one, they were very, very, very nitpicky, right, David? And all the reviews that we saw, and then what ultimately just felt so weird is that it was being pitted up against K-pop Demon Hunters, which is now not only the biggest movie to ever hit Netflix, not only going on the Criterion collection, but is now an Academy Award-winning movie. For whatever reason, people felt the need, because I guess they technically opened at the same week or the same day, that these two movies should be up against each other, which is so funny because I really, really love K-pop Demon Hunters as far as the music standpoint. I will say, I think there are some legit problems with the story execution of K-pop Demon Hunters that people just don't want to even acknowledge. We talked about this on this show, but people don't want to talk about it because isn't it fun, guys? It's a fun movie. Let's get on board. Let's all have the same opinion. Let's just go along to get along.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. And I think overall what we're finding is that with every animated film, this group here on our show just seems to be completely out of step with how most people are even talking about them. It just feels like, because it's been years now, Inside Out 2, Moana 2, Zootopia 2, Hoppers now. There are plenty of animated films that have come out that I think have legit problems, but there's just no desire to really get into them.
Mm.
And then with Wish and Strange World, they were not great movies, but I think the ways that they were not great were also worth having a discussion about, but that also wasn't part of the discussion. With Strange World, I legit think the thing is, nobody watched it. I think it's a fascinating film to actually get into, but no one has seen it, so we can't even have that conversation. And because it has that reputation, nobody wants to see it. I've seen Strange World. I don't think you have, David. You've seen Wish, David. I don't think I have.
Mm-hmm.
So That's just kind of where things are at.
Yeah.
But yeah, Peter, you do seem surprised about now. I guess you're backtracking on the consensus.
You see how he uses words in a very like attacking way.
You know what? I admit that was unfair. Let me rephrase myself. It seems like you're a little bit surprised, as you said a few minutes ago, that generally a lot of people are giving the movie a lot of positive marks, in which you thought that there wasn't much to be positive about. Is that more fair and accurate to say?
Sure. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I guess this happens every once in a while where I'm just like, yeah, damn, I'm just not on the wavelength of everyone else. I think the funniest example, it's not exactly the same. It was one of those where it's like a certain group of people were on one wavelength and everyone else wasn't, was Emilia Perez. Where like everyone within the Academy was like, oh my God, this movie, it's so incredible. And then everyone else on Earth was like, what? Like,
what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Like, what is this collective, like, are you all losing your mind? That was such a weird situation. Very funny. But yeah, this is another one of those where it's like, a lot of people love it, and I'm just like, all right, I guess. Like, there's a little bit of not much, but a little bit of a backlash to like, what do you call it? Project Hail Mary, with the way people talk about it. There's
all of a sudden there's a backlash to one battle after another after it won Best Picture. It's like it's the same manufactured bullshit all the time. It's like, just enjoy a good movie.
There's cynical, angry people that want to be. It's kind of the same with politics. Like, there's a lot of people specifically on the left who want to be the first to say that they hated something or they thought it was shit before everyone else, so they can feel better about themselves. And there's that kind of thing with like movies too. Every movie, and I understand, no one's saying you have to like a movie, but it's not just disliking a movie. There's a very specific way that some people like talk about these films and engage with them. I've seen like the most insane negative reviews for Project Hail Mary, where it's like, are you good? Are you okay?
Well, there were some pretty insane negative reviews about Marty Supreme, which we can get to later in the show. But let me just, I do feel like when it comes to specifically Disney, Pixar animated films, I just feel like there's a mass psychosis happening. In that these critics are just, maybe they're just not caring as much, or they're just not as strict with these movies. I just don't get it. But look, Patrick Willems, this is what he said about this movie. Hoppers. Went in with zero expectations and am shocked to find this is my favorite Pixar in like 6 or 7 years, maybe more. The second half especially rips, has some truly weird stuff and an incredible chase sequence. I love George the Beaver King, a great guy. What a nice surprise. I gotta tell you, I think this movie fails in a lot of different areas, but to me, I feel to what sealed the deal is the fact that I don't think I care about a single character in this movie. And I think a lot of them I've already forgotten about even exist. Do you two feel similarly?
I mean,
David?
That's the thing about when it comes to these movies. Like, I'm just not that critical about it, especially on my reviews. And it's always hard to gauge like how I'm gonna feel about a movie. But like with these characters, like, yeah, I liked George. I liked the Beaver King guy. I already said my negatives about the main character. But I just, I'm just not overly like that when it comes to a lot of these movies where I'm just like, oh man, I don't even care about this character. It's just sort of like, as long as you made me laugh, I'll probably remember you. I'll remember other things, like I'm bad with names.
Yeah,
like that's always going to be the thing. I don't. If you had just mentioned like, oh, what was your favorite character, I probably would have forgotten the beaver's name. Have you not said it earlier? but and so
King something.
yeah,
King
I remember
George.
he was a king. Was it George?
King George.
so I've just again so when I don't know, it's always weird with some of these discussions. It's like, I like the character, and that's about
Generally,
the
David, I
extent.
want to be clear, and as we said this in the last podcast, I generally agree with that sentiment. It's just that with this movie, I will say this is one of the few instances in which I really couldn't really connect with much of anyone in the movie. And generally, for me, that's not the case. Not saying that you're lumping me with that, but I just wanted to make it clear because I was well, I get you. I think that sometimes people can be a bit too harsh when it says, well, none of the characters stood out or I didn't connect with anybody. When I'm like, but this instance, it didn't happen with me. Peter.
I mean, I felt able to connect with the characters, but I don't know, just the overall execution was just fine.
Yeah, it's just an okay movie.
It just wasn't, it's like the girl, I liked the girl. It was nice. I understood her point of view and what she was going for. Even the mayor to a certain extent. It's weird. I don't want to criticize the animal stuff because that's like the best parts of the movie, but it also is just kind of weird. It just comes in and it's just but then the weirdness is the part that I liked. It's like there's this weird animal kingdom where it's like there's kings and there's a tribunal of kings, and then it's weird shit going on with the insects, but it's like I don't really connect much to any of that, but it's also really fucking weird and I respect that. So it's it's fine. It's an okay film that I guess a lot of people view differently.
Yeah,
that's so funny. I would have thought we would have been coming in on the more positive side. I would have thought this movie would have been trashed and we would be the ones, firmly on the positive side going like, hey, it's a good time.
I had a good time watching it. I just feel though what always gets me after the fact, it's just like how the way people are talking about it, and then it gets me a little bit pissed off because I'm like, I always feel personally attacked. I'm just like, okay, great.
Well,
everything I love has to be nitpicked to death and, and they have to take a shit on it. But when it comes to things that I'm like, okay, I'm so-so on it. I don't hate it. I'm so-so. They're like, oh my God, all hail, we love this thing. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys. Why every time without fail? Without fail.
I love you for bringing that up. That reminds me of all of you that are leaving hate comments on all the videos and all the clips.
They don't watch the show, Peter. They don't watch the show.
On the clips,
all those comments were on the clips, and the reason why they only watched it was because, they were short. They're not going to watch this podcast.
Cut this up, put it in the clip. So all the people that, leave hate comments, thank you so much.
David, you should do that.
They are very funny. You're right.
They are funny.
Every negative thing you've ever said about Mr. Alexis J. Soto, I guess in yours it won't be, but in mine he's below me. They're correct. They're very funny, and I encourage you to continue leaving your hatred.
And it's funny because in literally all of those instances, those people are going after me for having the complete opposite viewpoint of you.
I don't care. Continue. You are absolutely right.
It's funny because you've said far worse things about what they believe than I have.
Who's incapable of
they would hate you worse.
Any joy.
They would hate you much worse than I. If you think I am the big bad wolf, you've no idea how Peter can be.
Please continue.
And I gotta tell you, Peter, it's funny how you earlier you wanted to put it on me that Kyle wanted to distance himself from the show and saying that I pushed him out. I mean, yes. I do recall having a conversation with him saying that you were kind of like the negativity that you and I were bringing on. He mentioned you specifically.
You and I. There was a double negativity.
So
there was a double negativity.
Yes, but
Just throwing
double
that
in
out there.
means implies that you also played your part in it as well. I gotta tell you though, I just feel like the general consensus is like, yes, with these movies, they're fine. They make a lot of money. For some reason now, the critics and the influencers are on board with them for the most part, but they have no cultural impact. They're not talked about ever again. So what are we fucking doing here?
The only kids film that has had any cultural impact is K-pop Demon Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
But you still haven't seen, have
the
you?
last. I'll get to it. In like the last few years, I can't think of another kids film.
Encanto was the one before that. Well, that was a really big hit.
Probably, yeah.
I think Encanto was the last one then.
No. Wait, yes. Yeah, I would say
'cause
so.
Every other Pixar film was on Disney Plus, and it just didn't have that much of an impact. When it comes to Disney, they just haven't been making that many good ones.
I mean, you could say. I mean, as far as you mean, like dollars or like cultural cachet.
No. I'm saying cultural.
Cultural, yeah. So I think it just hasn't.
So we're not
been-
gonna count the Super Mario Brothers movie because that was a huge movie.
I don't know if that's had cultural impact.
Yeah,
because
I know. I
Mario
don't think it has.
himself is already big.
Mario, yeah.
Well, maybe you could say because that Peaches song is everywhere. Peaches.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that as cultural though. I kind of count it like as with Barbenheimer, where it's like it was big, but it was big because people were
pretty cultural.
Sure, but I don't know. I just think with Super Mario Galaxy and with Minecraft, the culture was already there. They just kind of backed it up, and then moved on.
I can see that. Yeah.
So it's cultural, but not what we're talking about with K-pop Demon Hunters, where it's like fucking
It just
everywhere.
kind of blows up.
Yeah, it blows up, kind of like with how Frozen did. So, yeah, I think K-pop was probably it's the most recent one that's had a cultural impact, and so yeah.
Great. Anywho, I guess that was our opening thoughts for all of those stories that we had there. Moving on to some interesting topics here. Peter, you wanted to bring up something about which is, I think it was a pretty big story because it also involves Disney and how they walked away from it. So OpenAI announced Sora's shutting down. How long has it even been out? A year?
The AI shit feels like it's a lifetime when in reality it's only a handful of years. I guess Sora's shutting down, which ends that massive, what was it, like a fucking $1 billion
Lawsuit?
merger deal.
Oh, okay.
Between them and Disney.
Oh, yeah.
Where they could use
Disney characters to generate images and videos. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. To me, it only tangentially connects to film. There's much wider implications for like.
But I mean, AI
the
in general,
entire U.S. economy.
AI in general connects to everything now, and it especially connects to this industry where the CEOs and the companies themselves
They're frothing at the
mouth. No, they're frothing at the mouth. They are. They absolutely are, to use this in every way they can to, from their perspective, save themselves money and make themselves more money, and also eliminate as much of their workforce as humanly possible.
Yeah. Cut out the middle and first man and last man. AI just seems to be shit in the bed. There's just so many examples where it's just not doing what people assumed it would do, and you keep saying like, well, it gets better every day, and it's gonna get to a point, and it might, but it also is requiring massive amounts of fucking energy. They want to make all these data centers just to be
That's
able
a big
to.
thing now. I mean,
Yeah.
just can we just pause on those data centers things? So, the fact that that's just being like, where I live, the local board of supervisors is having a huge drama right now because there's so many people that are turning out at these meetings to protest, and the construction of
Fuck
these
that
data
shit.
centers,
Yeah.
and that's actually an interesting lightning rod that you wouldn't think would be. But I'm just happy that some people are paying attention to the scourge of AI because it is a fucking awful thing, and it speaks to just how much whatever leaders you want to cling to in any political party have abdicated any responsibility when it comes to. I think AOC said this week that a few years ago or 3 years ago, some people said that this needs to be regulated, and then nothing was ever done about that. Obviously,
And now it's too late. Yeah.
it's too late. This week, Senator Sanders and AOC went up, and they're pretty good at like talking about ideas. I wish they would do it more with strategy. I need more strategy from them than but I'm thankful for the ideas. And their big idea this week was we need to halt any and all construction or deal making of data centers until we can actually have some fucking laws on the book. Which is it's a pretty big deal. So yeah, I mean, we talked about it. This particular thing with Disney, I want to say I think it was the late summer. David, you and I talked about this. I believe it was in the same show where we were talking about a story about how the Sphere Las Vegas was going to have like an AI generated enhanced version of the Wizard of Oz. You and I were talking about that. And in the same show, we talked about the fact that Disney had signed this deal to basically give a lot of its characters to generate videos like this. And we were saying very bluntly at the time what a stupid idea it was, because if people could just use this service to make their own episodes and make their own content, why would they watch you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just seemed like, the dog was eating itself kind of a situation. And I guess it does speak to, I don't know, it's like, I feel a mixture of like feelings, because generally this AI thing is endgame, and it is happening, but there are signs of life that there is already some resistance to this and a growing resistance to this. And of course, the Trump White House does itself no favors, where this week the first lady came out with a fucking robot and talked about how, like, hey, one day we could replace teachers with this hunk of junk standing right next to me. They really are just awful at everything, right? They can't ever fucking communicate anything. I just, like, when was the last time we had a White House that could actually communicate a message? Like Obama in 2016, 2015, that was the last time? Because ever since then, it's just been like one crap storm after the other of people who can't fucking communicate anything, any of their ideas. It's fucking terrible, man. It really just gets me so like heated, because this is such a really just evil thing. Evil. It's fucking evil.
I would say this. I guess what makes that story interesting with the whole like Disney sort of thing is that since AI has kind of popped off, there's so many people that'll just tell you like this is inevitable, right? Like AI is inevitable. It's this takeover. It's gonna everything with AI is.
Which, by the way, that's a pattern that big tech does with everything. By the way, big tech also is responsible for streaming coming into Hollywood, and let's see how that turned out. Oh wait, it makes no money that Disney then took it yoinked all of its Disney Plus originals and redressed them as movies. Hey, in a few weeks we're gonna have The Mandalorian and Grogu, which was actually Mandalorian season 4. At one point, and then it was just reworked into a movie coming into theaters because they realized streaming makes absolutely no money. We can thank big tech and Bob Iger single-handedly for dragging the entire industry into this money pit. Peter.
Yeah. So, the point being, stories like this are interesting because I think it kind of sheds a light on like it doesn't entirely seem as inevitable
as it used to.
Many want to make it out to be, or even how it seemed to be. Every day there's new stories where it's like, yeah, like these AI companies are like bleeding money to such an absurd degree. Open, you know, all of that shutting down. This should have been like a massive push forward with Disney allowing them to use their Disney characters. That's all done now. So it's really interesting to see where it goes from here. What makes it scary is that the AI has helped prop up a large section of the American economy. Let's see where it goes. But yeah, so it's really, really interesting to see that the inevitable doesn't seem so inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, can we get to
chunks of it?
There? I mean, I was gonna say, can we address the elephant in the room? But there's so many that I'm like, okay, well, which one? The part that people don't want to say out loud, about all of this. I should just say that tangentially as well. I am curious to. I'm sidetracking from my sidestep, so this is gonna be. Sorry about this. I was gonna go to one point, and then we're gonna go over here. That over the week, in a California civil court, YouTube and Meta were found liable for intentionally making addictive materials that contributed to the decline of a young girl's mental health. And that family was awarded a combined $6 million, and there are a whole bunch of other pending lawsuits in that. It just, to me, when you pair that with this, a rare moment of these tech giants having to backtrack a little bit here. Because for a while there, it was like full steam ahead. And this one not being so much related with AI, but it very much is related to media and how people consume media. With these addictive like feeds where it just goes, the scrolling, which has had such a cataclysmic effect on society. Again, no one wants to talk about these things, and unfortunately we have no leaders who have any interest in talking about these really bad things that are happening to people and their mental health because of all of these tech giants who are just, again, destroying the planet and society just to make money. So that was one of my side steps. You wanted to chime in real quick on that?
No, I do think it is pretty insane that they ruled in favor of the of the family or whatever. It'll be really interesting. You'll probably see these tech companies like clamp down harder on like age restriction and stuff like that.
I believe, what was it last year, New Zealand, that they banned TikTok for children under the age of 18?
I mean,
that's an interesting step.
I wouldn't have stopped at TikTok. Why do they need Instagram? Why do they need Twitter? TikTok's probably the least of the worst ones out of all.
I could be mistaken. Maybe it was all social media, but I'm pretty sure TikTok was the main one.
No, yeah.
That was New Zealand. That was New Zealand last year because they deemed it. That country already had a national conversation of whether or not this was good or bad. We can't even be bothered to be there because everything is broken, and it's getting fucked up even worse. Because people are just like, well, I don't know. All I care about are gas prices and the Epstein files. Oh, wait, but I voted for the guy who... And illegals, but I voted for the guy who could not deliver any of those things because it turns out
raised our
that...
gas prices by throwing himself at a war, which he said he wouldn't do. And then, he was best friends with Epstein. So it's like, well...
It was in the Epstein files over 1 million times.
It seems if you guys cared about that, you really shit the bed, didn't you?
Yeah, but my real sidestep to all of this, as far as when I said elephant in the room, was about AI, and I think there's a mood that I think all of us have been in, right? When it comes to the state of movies, but it definitely feels like beginning with the year 2023 to right now, it definitely feels like something. It very well could be there was a shift, Or it very well could be that it was just the culmination of the previous 10 years finally catching up with these very shitty practices and people getting elevated when there's no talent and they're being rewarded for their failures, blah, 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 blah. But what I'm saying is we're in a moment right now when covering movie news, movie stories, what's being greenlit, and then even the manifestation of the results of their productions and their trailers come out. And I think it goes back to you and me having been bombarded in the last few years post 2023 with nonstop abysmal trailers. It's gotten so bad that you and I, when we went to Hoppers, we walked in, we realized, number one, trailers were still showing. Then we realized it was Cat in the Hat, and then we walked back out, and we walked out and we waited until all the trailers were done. Then we walked in to watch the movie. And it was and I think the last time we were at the theaters to watch Project Hail Mary, we were actually, this is what it was like to enjoy watching trailers before a movie actually started. But that was very much not what the norm has been lately. And generally, things have been so bleak. They've been so pathetic, I gotta say, as far as like, the variety of stories that have been greenlit. So many studio movie trailers that have been coming out these last 2 years that I'm just like, I have genuinely no interest in it because I just know this just fucking sucks. This looks awful. I mean, obviously the color palette, but I just mean overall, it just looks like a bad executed story. Blah, 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 blah. The point is, we're living in an era where like people are now equating AI to bad, right? So
Yeah.
What if, I mean, there are two possibilities, but the point is, my main point is, it generally does feel like a lot of the stories and movies of which you and I were just like, what the fuck? Stop assaulting our senses with these, were the byproduct of like, it feels like AI was involved in the making of this, or AI was involved in the greenlighting of this. It very well could have been the case because we know how eager they've been wanting to use AI to do these things, but then also it very well could be that it's just the manifestation of 10 to 15 years of just like awful practices, awful instincts, awful people being elevated, and we are where we are because of all of that. I know there was also COVID, there was also, the strikes. It also very well is the fact that they don't want to, they love these big budgeted movies. Everything has to be big budgeted, but you don't see the money actually on the screen, and it all looks ugly and gray and sludgy. And yeah, and I don't believe this is just you and me getting older. Because people obviously their tastes change. I think obviously something fundamentally has gone very wrong here, and I feel like this week really kind of put it into perspective how the vibe has shifted, and I feel this is a very natural place to just go ahead and include this as a bit of a segue to discuss two movie trailers this week that came out that I think were quite legendarily bad, which was both the Moana live-action remake trailer and the Harry Potter live-action remake TV show trailer, which can very much fit into this larger conversation of the fact that, well, it wasn't just the fact that before 10 years ago, yes, every studio would make bad movies. But now it just seems like all the movies are making are bad movies, and now even the big franchise affair are just bad because they just look unbelievably awful and terrible.
Yeah, even when movies kind of weren't the best, you could at least be like, damn, that shit looks incredible,
Mm-hmm.
You can really see the money on screen, so it's worth it to just kind of experience that. And now it's like, fuck, this is ugly. Like, we can talk about it now because who cares? That I didn't see all of it. I think I saw snippets of that Harry Potter trailer. My biggest takeaway is it looks exactly the same, but worse. Like I got. It felt exactly like a live action. It's weird because it's not a live action remake. It's just a fucking remake. The original films were already live action. But it felt like everything I feel when I look at a live action remake trailer where it's like, wow, this is exactly the same. Except
which somehow feels worse, right?
it looks worse. The costumes look worse. The music
But I mean to
worse.
say
Like,
the fact that this is not an animated to live action, but the fact that this is live action to live action again, somehow this feels even worse than just the usual fare that we would get.
It's incredible that you can make me feel that in that way because it's a film to film. Visually, it just looks worse. Like those Chris
Columbus.
No, yeah, I was just thinking, people can feel however they want about Harry Potter. That's fine. But those, especially those original, I would say like 3 films are so fucking well made.
Yeah.
Like genuine real movie magic are in those films. They're beautiful.
Literal
films.
John Williams was in those movies.
John
Like
Williams
that.
score, they're just a testament to big movie making, blockbuster summer fun kind of films. They're just great. They're really well made. And then to just look at the trailer and it's like everything's gray and everything's dull and everything's shot exactly the same. And there's just zero life to it. And then that's on top of it being the same fucking thing from, years ago. It's just nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and it is a drug, and people are addicted to it.
It's not nostalgic though.
I think it is. It is.
Or I guess you could say it's
sickness.
supposed to be. It's supposed to
It's
be.
a sickness.
It's a sickness, sure, yes. But do you get the sense that there was a bit of a turn this week where it just wasn't hitting the same for these?
Because it's not
No.
nostalgic with Harry Potter and Moana. Like it's not there yet,
No, but
You're
that's
saying it
what
doesn't qualify to
but
be
that's my
nostalgic yet.
point. They've eaten it's gone too far.
Okay.
They've eaten themselves alive. It's a snake eating its tail.
Mm-hmm.
They've exhausted their nostalgia mine.
Yeah.
And now there's nothing left for them to mine. That what they are mining is it just feels inauthentic. And it's like, didn't Moana just come out? Didn't we just get a fucking animated sequel? And now you're doing a live action?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it doesn't help that the movies look fucking ugly. Like, I guarantee you a lot of people would be like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's go have fun. Watch live action Moana. If that shit looked really beautiful and it's like, oh, okay. But it just looks like shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that I think it looking like shit has sort of quickened people's distaste for it. I think if it actually looked and just felt better all around, people would be more into it. Same with the Harry Potter stuff. If that shit looked nice, I think a lot of people would be like, it looks fun. Maybe let's give it a try.
I think you can make the argument that we might be in a better place than we are today if in the last 10 years these remakes were actually made to look good, because I feel like the fact that they have been so overwhelmingly successful financially speaking, that has now influenced literally
get
every
away.
studio. They've influenced every studio to look like that, which is ugly.
Again,
Where
not
all the colors are sucked out of it. Every fucking movie now has to look fucking great. Like, it was one thing with fucking Moana, right? We're so used to having animation be sucked out when it's like being live action. But man, they literally went over the top. I gotta tell you, and this is my rant now. That Harry Potter trailer, genuinely, might be one of the worst trailers I've ever seen in my life. What a fundamental misunderstanding of what Harry Potter even is. Because first of all, to make it look like that, this is supposed to be a whimsical property, is it not? A magical property. And not only did you suck out all the colors, but it feels like you purposefully just like, you know what? Let's just go even further. Let's hit you even harder with the gray. For what? It looked like a fucking, I don't know, NBC drama. An MD drama that would be like coming this fall on NBC. Or HBO, whatever you want. But it's like, this is supposed to be like a movie level quality story, because we've seen that. It's every shot, Peter, you say. Yes, it's made to resemble the same shots. but you can't call them the same shots when everything about those shots is so much worse. From the way the camera is held to
the costume,
the costumes, the flat lighting, the unbelievably ugly color palette. And then to go even further, what the fuck was that music choice underneath the trailer? Like, I don't even know what the vibe it was going for, but like, that's what you replaced John Williams' score with? Like, everything about this is a complete misfire of people just like, well, you know what? Why should we try? And you know what the sad part is about it? Fucking movie executives are so unbelievably brain dead these days that they probably are convinced that they did a pretty good bang up job. You know what, guys? We realized this is what you want. You wanted a retelling, and we did it the best to make it look as if it was coming out this year. And you know, it's not really our fault that you like things that look ugly, but we made it look ugly because that's what you like. That's what it feels like, because how incompetent do you have to be at your jobs to completely make it look as if like you did not understand what this property was? And let me tell you, I'm not passionate about Harry Potter. I'm just sick of the same old thing being brought back up with no fucking purpose, no fucking meaning, no fucking vision, and all you fucking sons of bitches going out there and supporting it, saying it's the best fucking thing ever. My apologies for the rant, Peter.
This is where you go in the comments and just call him a loser, guys. But I mean, I guess I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but I guess the difference between me and you is that, like, I'm past getting mad, you know.
I was too. Which
You
is why
say
I don't
you
watch
are,
these
and
trailers.
then
I don't
watch
watch
every episode,
trailers
and it's
for a
like-
reason. It's like you have such an issue with me, but you, first of all, you don't watch the show, so get the fuck
No,
out.
I don't.
Get the fuck out of here with that. Okay,
You got me.
Yeah, you don't watch the show, even though it's like on your YouTube feed. I've seen your
watch the
YouTube feed.
highlights
You never
reels.
watch it. Yeah, sure, whatever. That's the first thing we need to get out of the way with. That's just like that's a fantasy. Then the other thing is like, this is why
fair?
you like to chastise me for not caring about trailers. This is why I don't care about trailers, because I don't want to
I
feel
didn't
this way.
I didn't
This-
fucking tell you to watch this one. I said watch
Did
good
I
trailers.
say that? I didn't say that, man.
I said
didn't
watch
say
the
that
Dune
you forced me
trailer.
to watch these things, but I'm giving you a reason for why I don't like
okay.
watching trailers anymore, because they always get me, they remind me of how fucking far we've fallen. It is so
Okay,
sad.
I'll watch all of them and then I'll tell you which ones to watch.
You know what? If you send me a trailer, I'll look at it. But no one sends me trailers, and you expect me to think
I
to
used to
watch
send you
them.
trailers until you stopped watching them, and then it's like I'm not gonna waste the fucking energy.
So okay, then what the fuck is it, Peter? What's the solution here?
You watch what I send you. That's the solution.
Okay, I do, but you don't send me things anymore, so I just don't.
Because all right, whatever. The point being, this trailer, I think what makes us come off as kind of crazy is like, to the average person, they're like, it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look like insane.
The
But
average person
that's
has no
the point.
understanding of how bad things have gotten.
Okay,
Is the problem?
okay. Maybe if you allow someone to speak, they would get to that point.
Okay.
The point being, it's sort of like the Lion King remake, right? Like, in a vacuum, if you just look at it, and it's like, well, you know, it's well-made CG lions. I don't know what the issue is. And it's like, if you just, it's not that in and of itself, it's the worst thing ever created. It's the comparison.
Yeah.
It's this idea of, you wanted to take this other film and do a new one. And it's like, okay, let's see what you have. And then you proceeded to, with every single choice, from the acting to the writing to the costumes to the music to the shot composition to the color grading, made a worse choice. By comparison, every single choice was worse. That's the part that really just makes you go, holy shit, this is awful.
It's just,
you know?
And like with the Lion King one, you know, when it was first announced, I thought, okay, you're gonna make it live action. Their faces aren't gonna be as animated as it is in the actual animation, and I thought take advantage of that. It's all with all of these remakes and live action remakes. I'm always like, okay, take advantage with what you have. There's some very big advantages when it comes to animation. You can exaggerate emotions, you can exaggerate certain actions, and so you have that. But now you're making it into live action.
And I know
What
you
can
know
you
this,
do?
David, but that assumes that the people who greenlight this movie and the people who made this movie had any desire to do that, which they didn't. Go ahead.
What's
We'll
crazy
just
is
put
it's not
that in.
that's the other part that's so crazy to me. You took such a successful like film franchise and you're doing a HBO series of it.
Well, no, that's the advantage, though. To me, that's the advantage because, like,
Money wise, I guess it's kind of like, what money are you gonna be making? I don't know. Anyway,
well, I mean, I don't know about money wise, but like, when that was announced, I'm like, okay, cool. Make it 10 episodes. You can put more things from the books that wasn't in the movies. Maybe you can even add on things. Don't be afraid to change it. Like
yeah.
when
I don't feel that anymore because it just never pans out that way.
No, I know it never does. Like again with the Lion King, my thought was, okay, since there's no like a lot of emotions coming from these faces, use your editing. I liked that moment in the Lion King, the 2019, that it was Simba. I forgot. Simba talking to Scar, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be king someday." And he's like, "Oh, very nice." And he goes, "That means that when I get older, I'm gonna be in charge of you." And then Scar is just like, he's just sitting there, and he's like, "Yeah, that's funny." But like, because there's no emotion, there's a music building up. Everyone in my audience, in my theater, were going like, oh, like they know what he was thinking, that like he wants to murder this kid, and it's like that was the advantage that you had, but you didn't do that throughout the entire movie.
Not to be a hater, but they probably know what he was thinking because they
probably saw the live,
movie
sure,
that
but like
had emotion and character, and they're blind that to this film.
Maybe, but like either way though, like the fact that people were still able to react to that in that moment, I was like, cool, impressive. And then when it comes with this Harry Potter trailer, right away before any of this, they announced, oh, it's gonna be 8 episodes, and I was like, okay, you already failed. Like you've done 10 episodes on every show you've done, and now this one's gonna be 8. What's your excuse for this? And there is no excuse. They just want to make it cheaper, and that's already
the live action remake of Avatar: The Last Airbender, how that worked out for them.
Yeah, that
It
I mean that
didn't.
one, I even put in Percy Jackson, as much as I like the show, but like that one's also 8 episodes, and it's like, what's going on here? Like, why
Which
is
show is better?
Of all those? I mean, it's Percy. Like it just is. The actors
No,
are-
I mean the animated Avatar show or the live action.
Oh, animated Avatar. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like every fucking time. Like it's just I don't there's just never any it's hard to walk away with like why this exists other of course money, but it's like why?
Mm-hmm.
Like we get keeping franchises alive, but that used to mean at least a little bit more creativity involved, than
like
actually
a sequel.
Yeah, or maybe a new timeline or a spin-off or something. It used to be that.
Well, with Harry Potter, they were trying to with the prequels of the Fantastic Beasts movies, but those went to shit. So
They
those were
ass
shit
in very
they were-
funny ways, though.
They were
And then and they do have something going with with the full cast audiobooks of these, which like I'm sure that brought him up like a lot of money. I don't know if the studios get money or if it just goes straight to fucking J.K. Rowling.
It goes to like WB maybe.
I think so
I
because
mean,
I
it's
think the
pretty
actors from the
obvious-
show are voicing them in the audiobooks.
It's pretty obvious that I thought the long-term plan is that we're going to wait enough years to just adapt Cursed Child into its own thing, because that was
I
like, a
think
sequel
none
thing,
of the original actors wanted to come back.
Plus, Cursed Child
Yeah.
isn't really.
It's also not fucking good.
Yeah, people.
Also, many of them have died now, haven't they? So that's also another problem there too.
Yeah, I think you just need the original.
Yeah, I
actors,
think you just
right?
need the original. So, but either way, though, Cursed Child isn't really like J.K. Rowling's thing. She didn't write it at all. It was someone else. It's basically fanfic.
Because we care about her opinion, right? At this
Well,
point, but
yeah.
it wasn't beloved, and it wasn't like but clearly, I mean, at some point you would think that they would want to do something without any source material. I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool to check out an animated Harry Potter.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Like a
but,
Clone Wars style
Animation is
animation.
such a wildly different medium. I would have been way up more on I think Spider-Man did it right? You know, it's like, let's do an animated Spider-Man with a different
Yeah.
Spider-Man and
Yeah.
the whole fucking thing, right? If they had done like an animated Harry Potter film, even if it's just like in the universe, as like a different character, I would have been down with that. You know, but,
Mhm.
like,
I think that would have been
that's
cool to
probably
see.
looked cool. Probably would have been very visually interesting and beautiful.
By the way, this is a sidebar, but since it was invoked a few minutes earlier about Avatar: The Last Airbender, what do we make of the fact that Paramount, or Magamount, I should say, pulled Avatar from the movie theaters? The new Aang movie that was supposed to be coming out this year, it just got pulled out of nowhere. Do we have any idea or insight as to why that happened?
I don't know.
Probably
why.
an executive that has no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah,
Just kind of like,
it's just them.
what is this? Why are we?
Mm-hmm. It's just the creators
Why
keep
are we
getting
doing
screwed
it?
over,
Yeah.
over and over again, and then it's not gonna be that big. And then
DiMartino and Konietzko just have a curse, don't they? They just have to keep getting fucked with executives that come in and out of the woodwork.
yes, and they put so much effort into what they're doing, and it's like, are you kidding
It was
me?
made for the movie theater. It was made for the movie theater. It's
Mhm.
like, put it in the movie theater.
It's like people who put in so much effort into what they do, they don't get enough fucking credit. They don't get the right what's it called, like the right audience, I guess. I don't know. And just the recognition from the studios, and then in doing so, people don't recognize their work, and they just keep getting screwed over. And then you get this fucking HBO show that's and honestly, the Moana movie, and it's like, people are gonna go see it. People are gonna probably praise it a bit, and it's just gonna be annoying. Honestly, I'm really hoping since Harry Potter's coming out Christmas, that's the same time as season 3 of Percy Jackson. I'm very much hoping that the numbers are far better for Percy Jackson, or people are just being like, hey, don't watch the Harry Potter thing, just go to Percy.
Well, for one, it'll be an interesting comparison because from what I understand, Percy Jackson is far better received, and there are genuinely fans like yourself, that are enjoying the series very thoroughly.
Mhm.
I will say though, the more we keep bringing up animated projects, the more I keep coming to mind. I will say is, I wish there was more. I don't know. Maybe movement isn't the right word, but urgency. But and not to say that there aren't being made right now, but where are the sequels for Wild Robot, Puss in Boots, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like, where are they? Are they happening? Are they even like announced? Like, I just like, and I know Spider-Verse is the most anticipated one, but we know that's gonna take fucking forever. But the other ones, I'm like, I think those were all great animated films that deserve sequels, and that should be like, why the fuck? And I was gonna say, why the fuck is Mario already out? But we know why, because they're so fucking cheap to make. Those are gonna be like, they can keep coming out every fucking 2 years, and it'll make $1 billion fucking dollars. But I'm like, it is a genuinely exciting time for animation, but I just feel like it keeps being done dirty by either projects like the ones that we discussed earlier, or also just fucking executives that just like not really understanding the material that they have in front of them. Like, at the same time, I do want to say, Peter, you just mentioned earlier, in the same vein of like, hey, it would be pretty cool to explore what an animated Harry Potter would look like. Hey, fucking Lucasfilm, wake the fuck up. You have an audience. I mean, maybe explore animated Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Look into
That
that.
would be fun.
That.
Yeah.
It'll
But I mean, Star Wars fucked in different.
I mean,
ways.
yeah. I know it's a different audience, but I mean, I fucking try something interesting. And while we're on it, like, again, we're sidestepping the sidestepping, but we're here. But it speaks to just like the era we're living in. Where are we right now with The Mandalorian and Grogu? I think we all can see that the marketing is very confused because they themselves don't quite understand how to market a movie that's not really a movie, and what was supposed to be probably just like episodes of a TV show, which should really speak to how dire things are. But I mean, I think that we all, can see that Disney uniquely doesn't quite know how to market this movie, and they themselves can see, we're in trouble here. Do we think this is going to be in the category of a disappointment, a moderate hit, a surprise sleeper hit, or just a complete bomb? How are we? I mean, we know creatively, none of us are gonna really think it's gonna be all that great just because of history, you know. But I think overall we can agree the trailers have looked very lackluster. Well, lackluster is even being too kind. They've looked awful. They've looked so uninteresting and boring for a Star Wars movie. Guys, your thoughts on all of this?
No, yeah, it's not that good. I'm hoping it'll bomb, honestly, just because I just want the Mandalorian to end. The show wasn't that good.
It already did. It ended. Season 3
yes.
basically ended the show. I'm like,
Hey, you can argue season 2 ended the show.
yeah. And
or season 2.5. What was it? Well, I guess Book of Boba Fett is that a Mandalorian season technically? Or
I mean, the most important development of the whole fucking show happened on that show, so it seems like it's required viewing.
Mm-hmm. And the trailer is just, I mean, they're trying to make it sound, oh look, it's an adventure and all that, but I've seen your show. It's nothing. It's no story, and so it just feels like that's all I'm seeing. It's like, oh, I'm not seeing a story here. I'm just seeing a guy going from one thing to another, which was basically the show.
Like, so, he fights the Empire. Okay,
that's nice.
That's every Star Wars ever.
Mm-hmm.
So, Peter, do you think this genuinely bombs? I'm getting a sense it might.
I don't know. Maybe it bombs. Maybe it makes $1 billion. I don't fucking know.
I don't think $1 billion. I
don't think it's $1 billion.
I think Disney has revealed they're much too scared to think they have $1 billion picture on their hands.
I do think they're a little worried about what it's gonna make.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I feel confident saying that it's like gonna bomb or anything. Especially what if there's nothing coming out before or after it that important or big, maybe it makes some money. Kids love the Grogu, who knows?
I guess I shouldn't say that's gonna like bomb, like it's not gonna make its money back. Maybe it'll probably be higher than what its budget was, but like I just don't think there's gonna be the success that they want it to be. So
I'll put it this way, I don't see it having legs. I can't imagine your average film goer needing to go back and see it again.
I think there's a chance this genuinely gets terrible reviews.
Terrible reviews? Yeah. I'll say that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a good chance.
And this may sound dickish to say, but I genuinely do hope that it bombs. And I'm hoping for a beautiful disaster, because I think Disney deserves a disaster. I mean, they reap what they sow, you know?
Disney has had disasters like already with Snow White and like Wish and everything else. But
I think this would be a different kind of disaster, right? Because to have a Star Wars movie fail like that, I mean, it's going to make money. Let's not kid ourselves. People are going to pay to watch a Star Wars movie, but I think this is the problem. Disney is sensing that there is no awareness that a Star Wars movie is coming to theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, we've already lived through a movie that had the name Star Wars in it that didn't succeed at the box office. Did we all forget Solo?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I love that people are saying online, gee, I really wonder what it would have looked like if Kathleen Kennedy had not fired Lord and Miller.
Yep.
From that movie, considering the fact that, Project Hail Mary is already out and it was pretty great. So I'm going to say I don't know. I think it remains to be seen what's going to happen here, but I think are any of us going to watch it?
I
think okay, so nobody wants to.
I don't know if it's interesting enough to like even watch.
That's the thing. I feel like I mean, what Peter said, if there's nothing else on, maybe I'll watch it. But
I mean, well, what does that even mean? Like to go to a theater and watch it, or
I'll put it this way: like, I don't know if I'll like the Avengers, whatever. But I'm curious enough to like go watch it in a movie theater. I feel like things will happen. With this, it's like I don't feel like just watching a fucking Mandalorian episode on the big screen. Like I've seen more than my share of those, and it's like that's what they are.
They're pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just interject real quick. I just got a package. This is one of the more like underseen.
Is it a bomb?
This I thought this I really liked.
roses.
I really liked this movie. Hardly anybody watched it when it came out in theaters, but this is Olivia Colman, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Are the characters
and-
very U-coded?
Maybe, but they're very toxic, so perhaps that would be a yes. Obviously, but I didn't realize when I watched this movie it was a remake. So
it is.
It's a remake. I will say it is very. This was a very hard to find movie on physical media. You'll know this is a Blu-ray. It's unopened and it has a slipcover, and it's a comedy. And this is also from Searchlight, so this is Disney. What the fuck, Disney? Like this was invisible. You really have to scour the confines of the interwebs to just find a Blu-ray, not just a normal DVD. Anywho, I will say one of my joys of last year, as rare as they may have been, was the fact that there were actually some pretty a good number of comedies that were released in theaters. Not too many of them made any money, but they were released in theaters, and I was happy to be able to watch them. Like The Naked Gun was another one of those where I was like, oh, that was a lot of fun to watch in a theater and have people actually laugh. I had forgotten what it was like to hear laughs like that. Something that was supposed to, be a funny thing all the way throughout. So, David, I know you've been wanting to watch this one. Have you had the chance to watch it?
No, not yet.
Okay, well, this comes with a code, so hopefully I can redeem it and you'll have the chance to be able to see it. So, anywho, I know that we got so sidetracked, but just to get right back on it just real quickly, I will say the Moana trailer looked also especially bad for its own horrendous imaginings. I noticed that a lot of people were pointing out how tuned out The Rock looks like. That something has just happened with him where he's just like not feeling it, even though he was the one that instigated this project in the first place to happening. And then also with The Rock, I mean, that wig.
I'll just say I think it's just weird for me, at least. It's weird to see him with hair, so I think that's why it felt weird to see.
It still doesn't work. It still doesn't work. It still just feels off. Granted, you may be right in that department, but still, the rest of that trailer.
No, yeah, the rest of it, gray, lack of color. Somehow we see pictures of them on set, but it looks green screen the whole time.
Because they never didn't go outside. They were always there. I think they shot in Atlanta the whole time.
I don't know.
And maybe a few shots here and there were on location.
Yeah, but yeah, it just didn't look that well. And I got two things I got annoyed of for both. One for Moana and one for Harry Potter. The Moana one, when he said "You're welcome," but it was just like that slow like pan up, or like he moves his head up and like he knows what he's saying. It's like, why would you do that?
Get it?
It's like, why would you want to reference the animated one in any way by doing that? So that's already annoying. And then with Harry Potter, I got very annoyed in the beginning with it was Aunt Petunia saying like, you're just a regular boy, there's nothing special about you. And I instantly thought of, okay, Netflix dialogue for this show. For people who don't know, it's basically them reiterating what the theme or the plot is in every single episode, or in basically every beginning, middle, of end of a scene of an episode. And I know, and I'm thinking that because the book does a better job at giving you context that these are Aunt Petunia and her husband aren't good people, and that they don't want him to know about magic, that he's a wizard. In the book, Harry goes, "Oh, I had a dream of a flying motorcycle," and they were driving when he said this. They instantly stopped the car. They turn around. There's like, there's no such thing as flying motorcycles. Just freaking out over nothing. That's all you needed to give me the context that these are weird people who are just very strict on him. So to have that in your trailer, it's already not a good sign for me. That the dialogue is gonna be bad. that it looks cheap, and it just everything about it looks off. Like I'm just thinking about the original cast from the movies, and I don't know, you and like I mentioned before, like 8 episodes. Why you just rushing the plot along? You're already making these small changes when you have so little time. Why would you make something new? If you know what I'm talking about, there's just a little shot of him actually in school being bullied by his cousin. And it's like, that's not in the book. Why adding new things? You're already on strict time. This is all just red flags. Sorry, people who like this trailer, but that's the thing that we should always mention, is that this can be better. And like, since this is a remake, we've seen the better version already. So this is why we're being overly strict. And like I said, they had a chance to make this better than the movies if they just made it 10 episodes. Honestly, you could have made a 22 episode show that would have been better. It would have been, looked cheaper, but like, could have gotten more.
Yeah, very, very, very bad looking trailers. We do have more trailers to actually discuss. We've got 2 here with Dune Part 3 and Spider-Man Brand New Day. I feel that perhaps we might have some more positive things to say about these. Peter, would you like to go ahead and start with your thoughts for those trailers?
I'll start with Dune because there's not much to say other than looks fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely amazing, right? Like,
yeah. It's
Timmy Timmy's a star, guys, and they wanted to make you think that he wasn't a star, but like, he's selling it. So it didn't take long for them to realize.
It's a future Oscar winner for best cast. What's it called?
Cast.
Best what's that new award?
Best casting.
Best casting. I mean, it really does have the best casting. Insane. You just need Tom Holland in there. Because wouldn't that be funny? It just looks fantastic. Like, there's nothing to say. Fantastic trailer. Can't wait to see it. Hell yeah.
People were
saying Robert Pattinson was looking great in it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I almost unrecognizable, honestly, but yeah.
I didn't realize it was him.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot he was in the movie.
Really?
I was like, yeah, I didn't realize that was him. And then they pointed out, and I'm like, wait, what? That was him? Oh, fuck. That seems interesting. I mean, it'll be curious to see what this looks like, but I feel like ultimately, like, in Denis Villeneuve we trust. So there's really no discussion to be had here. I think we know ultimately it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. I think what is actually quite interesting to talk about is, for you, Peter, there are a lot of stories that are already shaping up about like how certain movies are going to look like and what the conversation is going to be about them, as we have been discussing already for literally over an hour and a half right now. But like, I wonder what is actually going to happen as far as like both Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday opening on the same day, and what that's going to look like ultimately.
I suggest Doomsday move.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I suggest.
I think it speaks.
Yeah, we'll see.
It says a lot, I would say, that Dune, who everybody would thought would have moved, is not moving.
Nope.
It's sensing,
especially with this
they
trailer.
ain't afraid. Yeah.
They're putting their foot down.
They're not afraid about it.
Or at the very least, keep it longer in theaters than Dune will. Because I can honestly see myself being like, I see it open a weekend, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, you guys are going to be like, hey, do you want to watch Dune it again? And on the next weekend after, it's like, we're going to keep going back until it's gone from the theaters. So if your best chance at the very least.
Especially since we're already expecting Doomsday to have bad reviews. I mean, that's not even a question, right? Like, I think we're getting, and we've been saying, we're getting Rise of Skywalker level of bad vibes from this production. And I think it would be surprising if the reviews came out and they were actually, oh my God, this is actually a pretty good movie. That's not what we expect to happen. And it very well could be the final nail in the coffin for Kevin Feige. Like, if that movie doesn't succeed, that's going to be, I mean, but it's Avengers, so it's going to make $1 billion. But I do, yes, it will have all that. But I am genuinely curious to see, is it going to be like a No Way Home, kind of like is it gonna play like that, or is it gonna have far less returns than that one have? No Way Home had the 3 Spider-Man. It had the Sam Raimi Spider-Man villains. It was a big event. You know, it was like almost made $2 billion in COVID time. So is it going to play just like that, or is it just merely going to be like 1.5 billion? I think that's generally what we're talking about here. But then that would imply that we're interested in that movie, and I guess we're just not. So yeah, I'm sure we're gonna be watching Dune Part 3 many times before we watch Doomsday, and that's just generally what we feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. How about Spider-Man though? What did we think of that trailer?
That one's a little bit more interesting to talk about. I think it's still plagued by the modern movie issues of just kind of not having great color and little bit of ugliness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, it's still fucking there. But you can tell there's a genuine attempt to make like a movie
Yeah.
about Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and his character being sort of central to telling the story about him and not nostalgia or setting up some other thing, you know? And I respect that. And I really like Spider-Man, and I really hope it's good. There's certain things that I don't like about it, but it's one of those where it's like, I don't even know if I can complain that much, because it's like, at the very least, it seems like you're attempting to make a Spider-Man movie. Like, I do think it's fucking annoying. I get why, but I do think it's fucking annoying that they have Zendaya in the film. I think at most she should be there for like 2 minutes, right? It just sort of sees him stalking her. And then they should have given him a film or two to just kind of explore life without her, where he's trying to pick himself up back again and live this other life. Again, I would have been a great time to bring in Black Cat, but I guess they didn't do it. That's kind of
That would have worked.
That would have worked so well, so fucking well.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, because everything else seems like it's there's a lot of effort they're putting in. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't escape a lot of the terrible tropes and practices that a lot of these that plagues a lot of modern filmmaking. They're still there, unfortunately, but you can also through them see some effort, which is really, really nice. But yeah.
No, yeah, there was some interesting shots. I really like the one of him inside the mask. That was
that's a neat shot.
Yeah, that's
I
really
knew
neat.
it was a good shot when I saw like idiots being like, "Wait, well, how does that work? Isn't his face against the mask?" Or da 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 da? And I'm like, perfect.
Who cares?
yeah, it's a fucking movie.
Yeah,
you get the shots to make it look nice.
Mm-hmm.
The second that idiots start asking stupid questions like that, you know you did your job well.
Yeah. And honestly, I was actually excited of Punisher being there, and even
I kind of like the way they're including him. Seemingly,
he's just doing random superhero stuff. Punisher, I mean, and he just happens to pass by Spider-Man. You know,
that's how it should work. Yeah.
Motorcycle just went by. To mute myself. But no, yeah, and that kind of adds to what people always keep saying. It's like, how is Iron Man not, or Captain America not in Iron Man 3 or something like that, because of all the dangers and all that. And it's like, you have so many heroes in New York, of course you're gonna like run into each other, and that's
sometimes there's a robbery and you run into fucking the Punisher trying to blast them in the face, and you gotta just kind of web them up and be like, you're freaking me, you freak everyone out, dude.
Yeah.
Stop. Which is, it's so funny the way that the Punisher is treated. He gets such special treatment from all the other superheroes because he acts exactly like a supervillain.
Yeah.
He would be a supervillain if for any other fucking character. his exact actions would make him a supervillain, they would try and hunt down and stop. But because he's the Punisher, all the heroes are kind of like, I'm not crazy about you, but I guess I'm not gonna stop you either. Like it's just a weird fucking relationship with the rest of them. That's funny.
I mean,
that only exists because comics.
No, yeah. I mean, the fact that Spider-Man like just webs up his mouth and goes, "Go home," instead of like, "No. You tie him up. Tell the police
you're a monster.
Yeah,
I am gonna tie you up and put you in prison where you belong." Yeah, no,
it's so funny. And then people are kind of hyping up that since what was his name, Bruce Banner doesn't recognize Peter, will Hulk remember Peter, and like, is that gonna happen?
There's a moment in the comics where, because the same thing happened, everyone forgot who he was, but the Hulk remembers him, and he's like, it's a cute little moment. Yeah, maybe I can see them throwing it in there.
I hope so.
But who even is the Hulk at this point? There's been so many movies. I just have no bearing on that character.
His appearance changes from movie to movie.
From show to movie, it's just so wildly different. I can't even begin to approach what it's going to be in this film.
Yeah.
I feel like the best case scenario was that there was some genuine inspiration on the part of Daniel Cretton, from James Gunn's Superman, in which, like, to make it a fully lived in real life Spider-Man world, we're gonna utilize a lot of villains, but not do the bad thing that Amazing Spider-Man 2 did with it. But in this case, we're just gonna have them be there and have, Spider-Man kick ass. And I think you see that kind of reflected in this trailer of, like, some genuine improvement in the way that he shoots these scenes versus John Watts. And I think on that basis alone, you got to take a win when you get it, right? Like that's really good, because we were saying, Peter, about like the drawbacks of this, like, the trailer and the drawbacks of the films that came before. This is a series that has consistently for a long time now been doing absolutely nothing for me. Absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to the things about this trailer that didn't work for me was every single time it cut back to Ned and MJ, in which I do not care about those characters. I have never cared about those characters. The series never did anything about them. And I mean, Ned's whatever, but like the whole thing with MJ, that character was very different every single movie. There was no consistent characterization, much less was there any attempt of a romance between MJ and Peter. There is no investment whatsoever. So the fact that they're going to do this whole story of him like, oh no, I'm sad. I don't care. The movies didn't even care to build up that relationship. Why should I? And then we shouldn't even have these people who have long since forgotten about us in this movie. But the fact that not only are MJ and Ned in this movie, but that the trailer chose to focus on them as much as they did makes me just, once again, not want to care so much about a ongoing series that so far has given me very little of anything. And that's just how it is. I do not think they should be in this movie. I do not care about those characters. If it were up to me, they would never come back. But if they were going to do that, give us a couple of movies off. Like, it can't.
Yeah,
there should Peter should be. I don't know. I mean,
to the return.
I get him being sad, but it's like, why are we going to make his entire character about like, I want to be with my friends again? Like, there are more interesting stories to tell with Peter Parker. Like, why? Why are we doing this?
A jumping off point. Don't like. Well, it kind of. We just spoke a lot about the Mandalorian. It's the same fucking thing where it's like, if you want to reunite them, let's have some time in between the Mandalorian and Grogu before they reunite, and instead it's like, psych, they're right back together in the fucking not even next season, in between the fucking seasons, and it feels the same thing where it's like contractual obligations, movie stars. This I get a little bit more because it's absolutely like Sony executives being like, Zendaya is a movie star. She's gonna be in every fucking movie. So to a certain extent, I understand it more. I don't think the creatives had much of a choice. And like, no, yeah, she's in the movie. They're all in the movie. But from a storytelling standpoint, it would have been a lot better for them to like reunite in like either the next movie or even possibly a third trilogy type thing, and just sort of let him try and discover himself with meeting new people again, maybe a little side relationship with Black Cat. It would have been a great opportunity to introduce a lot of other characters into his life in that way. But you know, it's the business. I think it's mostly the business side that kind of requires this.
I will say, there are some things here that we need to just like. I don't mean to be a negative Nancy here, but I gotta just speak my truth about what holds me back about this trailer. I think ultimately it was a good trailer, and there are things that are promising here. I do want to keep myself open to that. At the same time, though, I do want to say I thought it was hilarious to me that they are gonna go the route in this movie to just give him these mutated powers, this webbing thing. Where
I love that part.
I love it because I remember a lot of nerds when Homecoming or Civil War came out. I was like, or even with the Amazing Spider-Man films, it's a comics accurate like webbing, and now fuck those people.
Fuck those people.
I love it. I love it anytime the studios, especially comic book movies, just say fuck you to nerds. And I wish, honestly, I think the overall business would be better if we listened far less to them. But that's just, I guess, me in that sense. It'll be curious to see.
You're negative.
I know, right? It'll be curious to see. This is just, I guess, somewhat related to it, but like, I guess Tom Holland has just made peace with the idea that this is all his career is going to be, right?
He tried, he failed, he's accepted.
Because I think it's rather embarrassing that he's just not had a career. He hasn't had a movie in 5 years. And the last movie was Spider-Man No Way Home.
He tried to have a career outside of Spider-Man. It completely failed. He's accepted his role as Spider-Man for life.
And occasionally, I guess, a movie like Nolan's.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure he's hoping that leads to...
Yeah, hopefully that leads to other things.
More.
But at the very least, too, like, just pick a better script. Because it's fine to get a small role that's very different from what you were playing.
You know who's great at picking scripts? Your fucking wife, dude. Have her read through anything you want to pick. How about that?
And you know who she's starring with? What's his name? I keep forgetting his name.
Robert Pattinson.
Yes, who's also done like little small movies.
Incredible at picking scripts. You know who she also stars with? Fucking Timmy, who's also incredible at picking scripts. These are all people in your inner circle. Ask just one of them to read through a script you're about to pick. Unless he's worried, they just fucking take it and run with it. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure they all get asked for like a lot of roles. I mean, they could be like, oh, hey, I got asked about this one, but I'm not going to take it. Here you go. And just go for it.
So this is my thing is like, I genuinely do think like, look, Tom Holland at this point should be of the level of a Timothy, but he's been very bad at picking projects. And I also do feel like this might be a bit personal, but just hearing how he talks sometimes about the way movies are made and what his taste in movies, I think it indicates that there's just not a genuine taste there for him. And he may not know what makes a good picture. Even though he has expressed an interest in directing, I don't see it, quite frankly, because I think he has this idea of what is going to get him his like big, I guess, moment. Because in all of the projects that have failed miserably for him that are not Spider-Man, he literally plays the exact same like role. Like he just a mentally deranged, mentally psychotic, like just like really dark, like caricature of what I guess he believes is what gives people, I guess, this like this aura, and it's not worked out for him. And I feel like, he has really, I think, he's wasted, I think, the entirety of his 20s. At this point, he should have made like a musical or a romantic comedy or just a normal comedy. I think like he is very talented when it comes to those particular roles. He just doesn't do them.
I
All
think
he
could
does,
kill a romantic comedy.
yes,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't. He has no interest in doing anything. I'm gonna lay out all the things that he has done. It felt like for a lot of years he was like in a lot of things, and then it just like dropped off completely. So from 2016, there was In the Heart of the 2015, In the Heart of the Sea with Ron Howard. Then 2016, there was Captain America: Civil War, The Lost City of Z with James Gray, which I believe he was probably a small part of that movie. Then it was Spider-Man: Homecoming, Avengers: Infinity War, Avengers: Endgame, Spider-Man: Far From Home. Then he did a couple of animated roles he did voice performances like Spies in Disguise, Doolittle, and Onward. Then, during the COVID years, came all of these movies and shows in a row that were the exact same kind of character, and they all miserably failed. There was a movie on Netflix with Robert Pattinson, funnily enough, called The Devil All the Time. That movie went nowhere, did nothing. Then also in 2021, I think 2021 he had a total of 4 movies. He had 4 movies come out in 2021, and all but one of them failed. So it was Chaos Walking with Daisy Ridley. That was a terrible fucking movie. Then after that was an even worse movie made by the Russo brothers called Cherry, which literally nobody has seen because it's on Apple TV. It genuinely one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Then, later that year, was No Way Home, which we know what it was, blah, blah, blah. But I think it was actually in the same year earlier. No, it was early 2022. Okay, I stand corrected. No Way Home was not the last big movie Tom Holland was in. It was, I think, January or February of 2022 with Mark Wahlberg, Uncharted, which also, again, didn't do anything. And then after that, in 2023, was an Apple TV drama series, The Crowded Room, which got terrible reviews. And I remember when it came out at the time, even Tom Holland, I think you're right, Pete. I think he did give up because I think during the press junkets for that show, he even expressed a bit of disappointment and like, even this couldn't get people on my side. Like it got genuinely terrible reviews. Why does everything he is in, not Marvel, get terrible reviews? I'm sorry, he has bad taste, poor judgment, and he's wasted a whole decade where he could have been in hits. And now he's just settled to just, okay, I guess I'll just be a husband now. I guess I'll have kids and and I'll just be Spider-Man. I guess that'll just be it.
Woe is him. Being Spider-Man, being a bajillionaire, and married to Zendaya.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I think he does charity work.
What a sad life to live.
It's not a sad life. I need to be clear about that. That's an amazing life. It just feels like, you know.
I'm sure, but career-wise, yeah. I mean,
I would have liked to have seen a lot more projects from him, and he just genuinely has no idea what he's doing. And I bet you Nolan. I mean, what is that really going to do for him? Like, I don't think he's that big of a character in the movie. I don't think he's in the marketing all that much, to tell you the truth, right? So he's not going to be a big player in that film, right? Odyssey?
I mean, he's not the main character, obviously.
He's the main character. He's the son.
Yeah.
He's the boy. Again.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't know the whole movie. I know it's gonna be long, so maybe he'll have like a lot more screen time than I think he will. But yeah, I guess we'll see. And hopefully, yeah, like we said, like maybe that'll get him some attention, that he'll get some good movies. But yeah, just know the difference of a good and bad script, dude. And just hope for the best.
Clearly he does not know that. So there's that. We'll see how that turns out. Anyway, we're already at 2 hours and we have not talked about any of the movies. Yay. We're on track for an amazing episode here. Peter, I'm going to leave it up to you. Of the three, which would you like to talk about first? Project Hail Mary, Send Help, or Marty Supreme?
Let's start with Marty, because that one's been a minute, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute. By the way, can we just say, it's funny how everybody like went from praising Timothy for like making that movie so successful. He literally like basically sacrificed an Oscar to sell that movie, and they were like, "Well, fuck
They
him, I
want
guess."
a downfall. They want a sacrifice.
So they manufactured it.
People are insane. Marty Supreme, directed by one of the softies. Dream big. Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness.
That's a fun. A young man with a dream no one respects.
Yeah. We saw this. It was pretty packed when we saw it. That first time.
Both times, and this is proof that it worked. So with you, Peter, when we saw it, it was the Christmas week, packed. Every seat was filled, and then a week later, I went to San Diego to see it with David and Alexis. Exact same thing.
Not
it was so
invited to
warm. It was warm because of all the body heat around us, so it wasn't that great after all. But you were saying
that's the worst when it's like you can feel the body heat, and it's like. Marty Supreme. Oh, starring Timothy Chalamet, and then a bunch of other stars.
Yeah. To be fair, this is a really unique cast.
No, it's a great cast. The Softies know how to cast a film. They love hiring evil people. It's fantastic. Yeah. Overall, I love the film. I thought it was really great. I think it's super entertaining, incredibly well made. But I loved Uncut Gems. And then also, what's it called?
Good time.
Good Time. And this is very much within that vein. This feels like a trilogy of fucking films where it's like very similar. It's piece of shit like
no, not the Smashing
trilogy.
Machine.
The what? Huh?
A Softie made that movie. You know, with Dwayne Johnson.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, talking about movies that actually exist. Those three films are. It's very much living piece of shit. The movie trilogy, because all three of them are very much about exploring just the worst fucking person you could ever meet, but damn, they're like enigmatic in a way that just makes their downward spiral so entertaining, and the way that they pull in everyone around them like a black hole into their downward spiral. It's great. So if you're a fan of those other two films, right up your alley. Timothy Chalamet, fantastic. He maybe deserved, not maybe, he should have won best actor. I'm sorry, he should have. Like, yeah, he did have the best performance. But like, yeah, the wider cast is fantastic. You know, Fran Drescher, Gwyneth Paltrow, Odessa Azion. I'm probably saying it wrong. Tyler the Creator, even Kevin O'Leary. He didn't do as good as people said he did. I expected a lot more the way they were sucking him off for his performance. He literally played himself, which is an evil son of a bitch. Which again, perfect casting. But all in all, just a hell of a ride. And at first I was like, I don't care about table tennis. But we'll see. But then it's like, the movie's not really about table tennis. It's about...
in the same way that Challengers also wasn't about tennis either. You know?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you could say it was. It was and it wasn't.
There's a lot of it in there, but it's very much about the human...
Yeah.
What do you call it? Relationships and everything going on with them. You don't have to love either sport to be...
David, I don't know if you know this, but Challengers was Ryan Johnston's favorite movie of 2024, and he loved it so much that he cast Josh O'Connor as the lead of Wake Up Dead Man because of that. So in case there was still any doubt as to why you haven't seen Challengers, just wanted to put that out there, you know, because it's, you know, just...
I didn't know you were
movie.
homophobic, David.
Oh my god.
I want it on the record that he didn't deny it.
Oh my god.
I want it on the record that he continues to not deny it.
I'm not homophobic. There.
Okay.
He denied it. He denied it.
I strike that from the record. Anyway, continue. Oh, I'm just saying, I love
You
it.
were
That was
you
a
were
great
talking.
time.
You were the one that was talking.
Yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
guess. David, go ahead.
Okay.
Try not to say a homophobic slur, but yes, go ahead.
I like this movie a lot.
Mhm.
Yes, Timothy Chalamet definitely deserved an Oscar for this, and it was. I think this is the first movie from one of these guys I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
You never saw Uncut Gems?
No. Mm-mm. So,
But you saw Good
If you
Time.
like this one,
No.
you would like Uncut Gems.
yeah, I've heard good things about Good Time and Uncut Gems. I still haven't seen them. So
I was aware you at least. I thought you were. Had already seen Good Time.
nah.
Oh, okay. Had
Yeah.
Alexis seen it?
I don't think so. No.
Oh. Well, then again, you can't speak on her behalf, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't have asked that question anyway. Go ahead.
But yeah. So this is the first one I've seen of these movies, and I've always known that it's like a wild ride. For those other movies, so I was very curious like what exactly that means, and yeah, it it sold me on it. It was just from beginning to end this like anxious super fast paced movie that you just have no idea how the heck is gonna end. And you think you'd be annoyed by this character and not really care what happens to him in the end, but like you're genuinely interested where his story is going. And when you get to that third act, you're kind of confused whether you want to root for him or not. And so yeah, this is a crazy story to have watched, and I'm so curious. I should have seen it afterwards, but like I do want to get into Uncut Gems and Good Time at some point. So yeah, fantastic movie.
Yeah, I think this movie is great. I think everybody in it is great. It's just really is an actor's who's who movie here, and even people who are like not so like big are giving like amazing performances. The direction, the costumes, the cinematography, the fucking soundtrack, the score, the acting, the writing. Genuinely, it is a great movie. For me personally, where it suffered is that it was so successful at making Marty Supreme such a unlikable presence that it really lost me in the middle of it, just because it was just making me genuinely infuriated, because I have lived through being around the ramifications of people just like that and the damage they lay in their wake, and it was just not fun, because it gave me kind of a bit of a
PTSD.
PTSD of like, oh fuck, I've lived through this before, and it wasn't fun then, and it's not fun being depicted on screen now. So it was a bit of a complicated relationship, but I do want to distance myself from a lot of the really brain dead discourse that took place around the film when it came out, and even after that, about people who were like, well, the movie is about a really awful person, and therefore I shouldn't like this movie, and I shouldn't be seen supporting a movie like this.
That's a child's opinion.
It really is, but a lot of people, I mean, hey, that's your average Academy voter. Why Timothy didn't win, and ultimately why he wasn't going to win, was because the Academy voter equates the character who the actor plays with the actor himself. Remember how years ago they were like, well, I can't vote for the actor that played the Pope because I can't vote for the Pope. I can't be seen voting for the Pope. So it's like they take it to that extent. These freaking obviously branded Oscar voters, they do that. But overall, this discourse was like really odious, because I'm like, well, I mean, obviously it's a bad character, and the movie, for the most part, knows that. I think we can have a little bit of a debate about how you read the ending, because I think there was some different readings there. And then, however, Josh Safdie, I think he took a firm stance, and that might make things a bit more questionable and complicated as we were, I think, off air discussing this. But for the most part, there are plenty of, just because a movie has a odious central figure at the top of it does not therefore make it a morally objectionable thing. But I do feel that for a lot of people, for why there might be some complicated feelings, is because we now have a much more awareness of, characters like, Marty Supreme, that are just here to take advantage of everybody and get theirs. And we're currently living in an era in American history where all the people who control all the levers of power are just as self-absorbed and self-obsessed and as maniacal in the banality of the actions of which they choose to do are just devastating large swaths of the population. I'm not saying a lot of serious people took that reading of it, but it was definitely something on my mind, especially when at the climax of the film, when Marty was about to defeat Enzo, and the camera kept cutting to the disappointed, defeated faces of the Japanese public, and then juxtapose that with the American soldiers hooting and hollering like, yeah, we get to kick their ass again. We dropped 2 bombs. We get to fucking kick their ass right now when it comes to this sport. So,
why do you hate winners?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, I just those are some of the things that I felt about the movie. I do like it a lot, I gotta say. So yeah. Peter, do you want to elaborate on like any other things that I mentioned about the fact? I mean, the discourse. I don't mean necessarily that, but I mean the readings of the movie about what Josh Safdie, because apparently he did plant a flag.
Oh yeah. I think he saw it very plainly and purely. It's a much more positive view at the end.
Because our original read of that ending was like, no,
I hold to that read. I think that that read works out so much. I think it makes the movie better.
Can you elaborate on your read? That way the people, David hasn't heard your read on it, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Softy, I think it's very straightforward. Where he is like genuinely
redeemed.
Happy and you could say redeemed to a certain extent by the end, and it's taking ownership of this person
life
that he does actually genuinely love, and this is his new child, and all of that. I don't think that's necessarily wrong. And I'm not saying that's not there in my read, but I also think there is a certain level of cynicism and playfulness to it, where it's like this whole time he avoided this fate, and now this fate's just staring him in the face in the form of this baby. To start the film of like Forever Young, where you see the little sperm flying, to end it with like this big fat-headed baby just screaming in his face, and welcome to your life is plain. I think to me it's a little cheeky, and it's a little like you fucked everyone over in life, and this future you tried so hard to escape is now your only option. He is absolutely gonna be the fucking manager at that shoe shop. I've been fucking up words even more so recently.
You're out of practice. You haven't been on a show in a couple of months, so I mean, it's only fair.
In real life.
Sure, okay.
I was fucking up milliliters the other day. I was like milliliters. Okay. Shoe shop. Anyway, I don't think it's entirely negative, right? I do think he has love for the child. Like it's not like to me, it's not like a dark ending, but there is sort of a twisted.
But it's a cheeky one. I gotta tell you, when I watched it with you for the first time, Peter, my impression of that ending was like, you piece of shit. You thought you were going to be all this and that, and this is what your life is going to be, whether you like it or not. To me, it played like the movie was like laughing at him. Mm-hmm. You did all of this, you fucked over all these people, and this is what you get. All the things that you were running away so much from, you couldn't avoid it, whether you like it or not. And I think it was definitely his just desserts for literally causing calamity throughout the entirety of the film. And for me, that's the read that makes it work for me.
Yeah.
I struggle with the read that is finding a lot more sense of not just compassion for him, but also just understanding and forgiveness of what happened. I feel that's where it gets a little bit much for me. Now, it very well could be it's personal because of past experiences. That I think that might be coming into conflict if that's the read, but I do feel that it works much better with the first reading of it, not Josh, because Josh Safdie went on an interview and I think he was like saying, no, it's meant to be much more earnest, not as cynical as you were saying, and
Yeah,
I
it's-
struggle with that.
It was so weird. I don't know if we're talking about the same interview, but like, it just didn't. He wasn't coming off as like he didn't see Marty as a bad guy, like, or anything like that. It was just weird. And then yeah, the ending, he was sort of like, oh yeah, this is like a good thing happening for him, and it's like, is it though?
Well, also, a sidebar is a lot of the, let's just say, podcast bro type of people were admiring Marty Supreme and like personally identifying with his like gotta hustle mentality and like promoting like people gotta be more like that. And I'm like,
He was even like actually comparing Timothy Chalamet to Marty Supreme, and I'm like, that's not a good thing, my guy. Like, I don't know.
that may have been what killed it for for the Oscar
I
chances.
do
if that's
think
the
Timmy
case.
is a lot like Marty Supreme.
Yeah, but like maybe
Um,
not to the extent of Marty and all that. But
No,
like,
well, I
I mean,
think
there are people who are.
He has an athlete's mindset, right?
Mhm.
And that kind of like mindset is very much like encouraged and accepted and looked up to
in certain circles.
on the basketball court.
Yeah.
In like the fruity ass, arts area, it's a little less, you can come off full of yourself and stuff like that. But I don't think he should change. I think that unique mindset leads him to great performances, great choices in what he does. I like having weird fuckers as making movies.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think it's always better. Talking about The Brutalist should have won Best Picture. You
Yeah.
know why that movie fucking works? Because you got a weird motherfucker as the lead actor. And he's one of those people that just throws all of himself into it, including his sanity.
Or insanity.
Yes. So it's like, don't change, Timmy. Don't let them beat you down.
Yeah.
Come back harder.
He
like
will with
LeBron
Dune.
or
Dune
whoever
Part
you
3 is
worship.
going to like shut
Michael
everyone up.
Jordan.
It's like we already know
Mhm.
what's going to happen there, but it's rather absurd for people to think that he should change his strategy when it comes to his career. He's doing everything right
No,
with his career.
He's doing
I think
everything right.
the only thing you can say is if he wants to be more competitive at winning an Oscar, maybe be more, not be more careful, but yes, be more careful. I heard that what was also
Kinda
not
pisses
working
me
for
off that
Oscar
he has
voters.
to, though, but it's true.
Well, I mean, look, I will just say perhaps the whole thing is just moot, and he's just accept that he's not going to win until he's 40. So that's just overall what it may come down to, really, because that's a big part of it. But I will say, based on what Pete Hammond from Deadline and Ann Thompson from IndieWire, they were on a Gold Derby chat, and they were saying that what they heard personally from voters who were talking to them was that it wasn't just the Marty Supreme marketing alone, how they were kind of blending Timothy and Marty, but it was also that when he began to win with the Critics' Choice and Golden Globe speeches, that he came off as phony for how like humble and reserved those acceptance speeches were, and that
you just can't fucking win.
Yeah.
you can't win.
That's what I mean. He needs to get like Sean Penn. Just stop giving a fuck,
Isn't it
Don't
so
even
funny
show
how
up to their
Timothy
fancy
was the
parties.
one who wanted it the most, campaigned for it, and ended up with the most egg on his face. Sean couldn't give two shits. He
Sean
only
Penn's
showed
gonna
up.
melt it down and turn it into bullets, so that Zelensky can put him in Vladimir Putin's brain. That's what he's gonna do. Okay.
Sean Penn only showed up for the Golden Globes because that was the only place that they were gonna let him smoke in the building.
That's so funny.
And what's funny is the Golden Globes were the only place he didn't win, because all the other places, the BAFTAs, the SAGs, and the Oscars, they all gave him the awards, and yeah, he didn't care.
Yeah.
That was that. I mean, go Sean Penn.
Yeah.
Go Sean Penn. I will say though, I think it's you were saying something, Peter, that kind of stood out to me. Just real quick from Marty Supreme, you were saying that the supporting actor category was a legendary run this year of nominees.
Yes, I thought they were all fantastic. Yeah.
Part of me did want to see Delroy Lindo win because I like him a lot, but also he was just not going to win because he just wasn't going to be. He wasn't that competitive all season.
Yeah.
How do you think this movie ages, though, Marty Supreme? Because I feel like I don't know. Film fans are gonna love this movie. I think it's gonna be a loved movie. It just for the time being, the whole association with Chalamet losing, it just has a bit of a stink. Even though it was a box office hit, it was one of the most, if not the most successful movie that A24 ever had out. I mean, it solidified Timothy's status as a movie star that can get people to be interested in movies. Like, it should be. It was the celebrated thing, and now it's just like, well, let's just not talk about it.
I don't think it's gonna have a stink. I think people will look at it as like, oh yeah, he should have won an Oscar for this.
People forget.
People, I mean, it's just not that big of a. It's just not that big of a deal, because if you compare this to what Will Smith did, I feel like that's a far bigger, stink.
Or Carla Sofia Gascon last year. No one gives her enough credit. She single-handedly stopped her movie from winning Best Picture.
Yeah.
But you know what? She showed up. She said, I'm nominated. I'm fucking here.
Mm-hmm.
Conan made one joke, and the whole audience was like, oh, yeah, you're here. Whereas the Oscars this year, everybody was taking a fucking punch to the face for Timothy for the opera and ballet comments.
Yeah.
That pisses me off so much. It's such a stupid like, why?
And that's why I think
are we pretending to care about these comments?
Yeah, and that's why I don't think there's gonna be a big stink on this movie because of it. Because I think everyone knows, like, they don't fucking care about the comments that he made. But with
the only funny comments I saw made about that is everyone saying "fuck the ballet" after Dune 3 trailer came out.
David, you should have seen it in the room. I was watching the show with Peter, and before the monologue started, he was like, "If they make one fucking joke about the ballet and opera, I'm out of here." And Conan didn't even waste
first fucking joke. Oh my god, I was done.
I think it would have been fine for one joke because it blew up and all that. I think it was okay for it to acknowledge it, and it was a good standards. And it was a good, safe joke. Of
all the things that happened that night, that was the harmless thing.
Yeah.
Because what happened after the fact, David and Peter, I didn't realize this when I was watching it, Peter. I don't think you did either. But so it didn't even occur to me that later in that monologue, they brought out Josh Groban and he was singing an opera, and I'm like, oh fuck, that was totally a dig at Timothy. Mm-hmm. It didn't occur to me.
I'm not psychotic, so that's not where my mind went.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I just connect that with
LOL, Josh Groban.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I think it totally was a dig because later on, for the Sinner's performance, which I was half paying attention to, in the middle of it, for some reason they brought out a ballerina. It ended up being a ballerina that came out of retirement, but it was a person who just earlier the week was attacking Chalamet for his comments. So that was an intentional dig
but
at
this
Chalamet.
Is what I'm saying. These people are psychotic.
Mm-hmm.
But then it gets worse. Do you recall
the tamest fucking thing?
Yeah. Do you recall that category that tied? I think it was like best live action or documentary or short or whatever, or one of those categories. One of the winners, it was the one that they were trying to play off, and then Conan was like, "That's just hilarious," and then it went back to him. In the middle of his acceptance comments, he was like, "Oh yeah, ballerina or opera and ballet are important too," and the whole audience was like laughing. It was like, "Ha ha!" Like all this like stuff, and repeatedly throughout the entire night, they were just like making fun of him, and it was just like they were treating it like the. This is also just a byproduct of like the Oscars just happened way too late, and they should have happened a long time ago. And if they did, this wouldn't have happened in the first place. It would have been a non-story. It would have been dead and over with. So this should be a lesson that the Oscars should happen no later than mid-February, so we can.
They're stretching it too much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we gotta.
But do you remember though? I don't think anyone remembers this. It used to be a point, I think 10 years ago, where the show used to be in April.
Insane. Insane. We're well into the next year. Like, you gotta stop.
Yeah. Anywho. Yeah, that's Marty Supreme. Let's talk about Sam Raimi. We mentioned him a little earlier as far as like the legacy of his movies with Spider-Man. But 2026 started off with a bang because the first movie that you and I saw, the first new movie of the year that you and I saw in theaters, Peter, was a new movie by Sam Raimi. And before we even get into the movie, I'm just so happy to tell you and to even find out that not only did people go out and watch it, but it was a bona fide hit. Fucking
people
finally.
really enjoyed it. Yeah. Well, didn't it have like an A cinema score? It had a pretty good cinema score.
Great reviews, and it made money.
Mm-hmm. Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi. Meet Linda Little. She's from Strategy and Planning. She's the boss now. Two colleagues become stranded on a deserted island, the only survivors of a plane crash. On the island, they must overcome past grievances and work together to survive. But ultimately, it's a battle of wills and wits to make it out alive. Send Help. Starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien.
Can we just say it? This movie was pretty amazing. Like, it was such a good time. I walked into this not really sure what to expect. I feel like it would. I was expecting, well, a good time, but I wasn't sure what the movie was going to be or what it was going to feel like. By the end of it, I was like, this was very Sam Raimi. This was a really good-looking movie. It was directed wonderfully. It had some really good gags in there. It was hilarious, and it was consistently funny too, and it delivered where it needed to. Obviously, this entire movie, for the most part, like, rests on the shoulders of Rachel McAdams, and I'm so happy that Sam Raimi realized what an incredible talent Rachel McAdams was. Like, and who knows if we ever would have been here if it wasn't for the fact that she was cast in that first Doctor Strange, but then forced them to put her in the second Doctor Strange, and then Sam Raimi worked with her. But that through line from there to where we are now, I've always considered Rachel McAdams to be an amazing talent, and I feel like she deserves more recognition for that. But I feel like I'm hoping that that's beginning to change with this movie, because genuinely, what happened here was nothing less than sensational. Like, to me, good. This is such like a memorable performance. The movie would not be the same without her. And I'm look, you just gotta like slip into this movie's vibes, and if you vibe with it, I mean, I gotta tell you, the first 5 minutes were a little bit cringe. I was like covering my eyes because of, the office scenes.
Yeah, it's tough.
The office scenes were tough, but once we get to the island, holy fuck. I wish I made time to go back and watch it again. I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater, but I will be buying the Blu-ray. This was such a good movie. And this is so the kind of movie that would come out in January and it would almost assuredly be a disaster of a film, but never underestimate Sam Raimi, because what he did with this was, I'm just glad that he's still around and he's still making movies. Keep it up, and I hope he makes more movies with Rachel, because obviously they got some mojo going on there. Oh, and O'Brien was great too, in case anyone was wondering.
He's really good. He kind of makes films. I think of this one, I think of Drag Me to Hell. They feel like almost like Tales from the Crypt or something, like they're these sort of comeuppance type, like one-off stories about these people that like be careful what you wish for, or they're just their goodness as a human being is kind of put to the test.
Well, like an Edgar Allan Poe situation.
Ways, yeah. And they're just so much fun. This is Rachel McAdams' movie, and she's great in it. You could tell she was up for anything, and Sam Raimi very much takes advantage of that.
Can I
just
say,
throws everything in the kitchen sink at him.
I loved Amy Madigan in Weapons, but I will say, if we're going to consider that an Academy Award-winning performance, Rachel, I would say, did better. Let me just tell you right now. So.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic. Dylan O'Brien is great. The way she plays off of him.
That laugh, man. That laugh that he had in that movie.
Yeah, like terrible. Awesome. It's very silly. It can get dark. Very
and
gross
ridiculous.
And ridiculous. But it's perfectly Raimi, I guess you could say. No, it was a really great time at the movie theater. You could tell when we saw it. Everyone was enjoying it.
I gotta tell you, I think this is actually a really good scenario, where I can almost guarantee most people were expecting a totally different kind of movie. And
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think most people were expecting what Send Help ended up being. And I think they liked it the more for it because they really enjoyed it because it was that good. I think people were surprised what it was, and they were surprised that they were enjoying it. And I think that speaks to how well it did at the box office. And word of mouth, obviously.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, for sure. And hopefully this just means more Sam Raimi. that his next film gets to theaters a little bit easier.
Yeah. I think it was Searchlight that put this one out. I think I did read that Sony at one point, was going to do this, but then they were like, we're only going to be able to do this with you if you agree that it'll go on streaming, not in theaters. Raimi said, fuck you, and went to Disney at Searchlight, and it made money.
It made money.
That's an amazing success story. And by the way, Sony is really just, they've got some brain dead executives truly over there because they're the same people who looked at K-pop Demon Hunters and like, this isn't going to make any money. Let's go to Netflix so we can get some return from investment off the bat. And then we'll give them the full rights, even though it's our Sony Pictures Animation, but we're going to give Netflix the full rights to that.
I can almost guarantee the executive that decided that got fired because holy shit.
Are you sure you didn't get a promotion instead?
Who knows? You're right. It goes 50-50.
That's really bad. But I hope more movies like this get made. I hope more movies of this size get made. I can't imagine the budget was astronomical, and I think it's genuinely heartwarming to see movies like this still find an audience in a barren wasteland that is the 2020s, especially the theatrical audience. Yeah. Shall we move on to Project Hail Mary, which in and of itself, I think also pairs quite nicely with Send Help in that it is such a well-made movie. It's got great scores.
It's about getting lost and falling in love.
Yes, that too. It's getting great audience scores. And, oh my God, saints be praised. It is not embarrassing itself. And it is actually turning out to be quite the box office hit. Like, what was it? An over $80 million opening weekend? Making only 30 alone on the Friday that you and I watched this. And it was the complete opposite. God, I'm so happy, by the way, for Ryan Gosling. I'm glad that he had this win because I remember, Peter, you and I were in the trenches back in 2017, another Ryan Gosling-led movie, Blade Runner 2049. Do you recall the first Friday of its premiere, it only made $15 million?
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
That's what I'm here for. But I got to say, Hoppers, we were much more, it was fine, right? But we liked Send Help, and I think I'm going to give it away. We really liked this movie, Project Hail Mary. But isn't it rather interesting how all three of those films have found audiences that are actually not just like not embarrassing themselves, but are actually making money at the box office? That's a quite pretty good start to 2026. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have expected that. I gotta tell you.
Project Hail Mary, directed by Lord and Miller. Believe in the Hail Mary. Science teacher Ryland Grace wakes up on a spaceship light years from home with no recollection of who he is or how he got there. As his memory returns, he begins to uncover his mission: solve the riddle of the mysterious substance causing the sun to die out. He must call on his scientific knowledge and unorthodox ideas to save everything on Earth from extinction. But an unexpected friendship means he may not have to do it alone. Starring Ryan Gosling, James Ortiz, and Sandra Hüller. I really enjoyed the hell out of this. I love the film. I'll say that.
Are you gonna see it again?
Trailer, huh? I want to see it again. I've been thinking about it.
If you are, let me know.
Want to.
I've already seen it a second time, but
I assume you've seen it 3 times.
I'm gonna see it again after this podcast. So,
Are you really
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah,
Are you gonna go
At
with
what
them after all?
time?
yeah. It starts at 10:30, so I got 2 hours technically for skipping the trailers.
Are you seeing it by yourself?
No,
No.
I'm going with Ale and Angel.
He has
Oh,
he has
okay,
his own
okay, yeah,
group.
yeah. You guys are going fucking late. Okay. No, have they seen it?
Ale hasn't.
Okay. You need to tell us her exact opinions, okay? No, I enjoyed the hell of it. I really loved it. The trailers, I was like, oh, okay, space movie. We'll see. Okay, it's interesting. It reminds me of sort of like Sinners, where I was like, I see the trailers, I'm like, oh, okay, vampires, I'm into that. Okay, yeah, all right, okay. So, I'll be there, I'll see it, but I'm not like frothing at the mouth, like waiting to see it. But it's like the concept seems cool. I love the filmmakers behind it.
I love the actor.
The
He's
actors
really good,
in
yeah.
front of the camera are great. So it's like, okay, yeah, all right, but I'm not like counting down the days with anticipation. But then the closer it started to come out, I was like, you know what? I haven't had a good theatrical experience, I feel, in a while. It's been a minute. Let's Avatar, maybe? I don't fucking know. Send Help, right? Send Help was after. It was Send Help.
You mean when we watched it last week?
We didn't see Send Help last week.
No, when we watched, you're
No,
saying
yeah,
that
when we were
last,
gonna go. Yeah.
You had okay.
We
It
were
was
gonna
funny
go see
because
that.
the week before you had seen Hoppers, which I guess that just speaks to how
It was fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not that
I'm
good.
Saying
I know, but a genuine
like
experience.
a movie.
Send Help. Send Help was that last one. It was
Yeah.
in January. It was very early, as a matter of fact, in January. And the week or two before that was Avatar and Marty Supreme in that order. So
Yes.
yeah.
So those kind of blur together. So for me, it feels like it's been a minute. So I started to get a little excited, and I saw it, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
There was a tweet you sent it, but I saw it before you sent it,
Okay.
where it's like Project Hail Mary is like a movie, which is a phrase I say all the fucking time. It's like a movie. We used to get like 57 out of them a year. Now we get a handful. So
If
it's
that.
really awesome when they come out and you can go and experience them. And that's what this was, right? Fun, great script, great characters that you care about, fantastic filmmaking, wonderful score, incredibly heartfelt, a genuine crowd pleaser. Like you could tell, tailored to be a crowd pleaser from the ground up. And it just succeeds on all those levels. Because I left and I was pleased, as well was the crowd. And yeah, but it's also, it has stuck with me. Like I have thought about it, and it's like, man, I want to see that docking sequence. Not docking, the fishing sequence.
Yeah.
Like, man, I want to see that again. Man, I want to just sort of just go back and sort of, there's something, when you really love a film, it's really cool to just go back and see it again, because you already, that knowledge of knowing what's happened, you can kind of like soak in a little bit more of like what's going on, the lines, and you catch some things that you didn't originally.
I will
say it's a film, and
yeah.
I had such a good time with it. Yeah.
those flashbacks that I think you were having an issue with initially, I think they're gonna play better the second time around. Now that you know where
Probably,
it's gonna
yeah.
go, because I think Peter, you were telling me that one of your only issues with it when you were watching it initially was like, why do we keep cutting back to these flashbacks? And when the movie ended, it's like, okay, that's why. And then that's what made them worth it. I think I enjoyed them a lot more the second time. Now that I had that perspective in mind of where the end point was
They
going
do
to be.
go to a very specific area, right? But
Yeah.
the first time, it's like, I think we get it now. Like, why do we keep doing this?
Yeah.
And then that very final decision by him and that last reveal of how he got there sort of ties it together and like, oh, okay. Like, this...
And it was an
Yes,
interesting
I get
choice
it.
too.
It is
So
a
late
very
in the
interesting
movie,
choice, yeah.
where it was like, oh, okay, that this kind of
Mhm.
contextualizes it in a way that I wasn't expecting quite yet.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I will say I'll co-sign everything you said. Just for me, very briefly, I think to
Real
me
quick,
this.
I'm also a big fan of like just hard sci-fi.
Yes.
And it can be a little rare, you know. I love Arrival, Blade Runner, like you said, 2049.
The Martian.
The Martian.
Especially The Martian, but especially like fun hard sci-fi that you can like share. It's like a family movie almost, right?
Yeah.
That's even more rare. And the
Yeah.
fact that those exist, I think, are great because I think those kinds of films are awesome for, you know, kids growing up. It's a
Ryan
good
Gosling,
thing.
I think, was on the
Mhm.
Drew Barrymore show, and he was like, I think comparing it to like a lot of the vibes of E.T. Drew Barrymore.
Oh
being
yeah,
in
of
that
course.
movie.
Yeah. Oh
It's-
yeah, I guess you could bring that up with her, huh?
You're right, for sure. But it's also, to me, what's interesting about this movie is that I think it does play for every audience. Like, for as much as it very much can play for adults, I think there's a lot here for kids to enjoy too. about
Oh
this
yeah,
movie.
for sure. You could show this to a kid. What's crazy is it's not like a kid's film.
Mhm.
Right.
It's just I don't want to say like adult film, but it's like just a regular movie that just so happens you can play for kids,
Yeah.
right?
In the way that E.T. did
Mhm.
for all audiences, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
accessible
mhm.
to like basically any person of any age. And I think that's truly rare these days for that to be the
But-
case.
I guess you could tell it wasn't designed necessarily for children because it doesn't shy away from like suicide and
Yeah.
you know, death, and you can just tell when it's like a family movie, the way that they navigate these things is a little different. And here they're very upfront and it's like, no, like there's adult conversations that they have and they don't talk down. But those are the movies I loved to watch as a kid because I hated
Yeah.
when you felt like you
They
were
were
being
pandering?
talked down to, or pandered to. That's I always hated that with those kinds of films, which would happen in a lot of kids' films. But I think that's why a lot of kids loved Pixar films because they, to a certain extent, it felt like they weren't being talked down to with some of the subject material. And a lot of people compare this movie to a Pixar film, although I think it's more strictly adult. I would say. But it's I think you could show this to any age group and it works.
Real quick,
Except
why do you
maybe
think?
like 4. I don't know.
What do you think happened that somehow this is clicking with people? I mean, obviously the movie is great, but like how did it get the promotion it needed to get people to walk out of the first weekend of this was out in theaters, and it made all that much money?
I mean, it just
It had. Oh, go ahead, David.
it's just everything about it looked good. Like, you got a great
Yeah.
actor, you got something visually interesting, and when you look at the alien, the cool thing about the promotions is that all of them kept saying like the alien is real, like that is an actual puppet, that is someone that I interacted with, and you see a lot of interviews, and it's just them going like, we have to get really creative of like how we're gonna film this puppet. It was kind of, when we were doing our Spielberg files and we kept looking at the ET movie, what they kept saying, it's like the ET puppet felt like a cast member. Everyone was treating him with respect, and it was the same thing with this. And like just all the vibes from it like were just great, and people kind of just can tell like, oh, this is actually something pretty good. And so, and then, you know, obviously reviews coming out of it, everyone's praising it like hell, and yeah.
I don't believe the book was that popular. Maybe that played a part
It was-
into.
Yeah, it's
it
fairly.
was The Martian was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the book was a hit. It was from the same writer,
Yeah.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller, Ryan Gosling, cute little alien creature, always fucking sells.
Mhm.
It's a Hollywood no-brainer every single goddamn time. Some good trailers. And then overall, I do think there was a lot of like fan screenings leading up to it. I think they had a good amount,
Hmm.
Interesting.
which I think helped to build up word of mouth.
That's good.
Um,
Good for them.
So yeah, and then sometimes movies just hit, you know?
Yeah.
It's you think you can find the perfect formula, but every once in a while shit just hits and shit just doesn't hit, you know?
Mhm.
And imagine thinking AI is going to help you get more of those.
What they're thinking is they're not even thinking that. They're just thinking, I won't have to pay an actor, so I'll save money. I won't have to pay a writer, so I'll save money. I won't have to pay a visual effects fucking people in a third world country where we already pay pennies on the dollar, but I'll at least save some pennies on the dollar. That's what they're thinking. Fuck them.
Hmm.
If anybody's fucking job should be replaced, or at the very least could be replaced, it's the fucking executives, because they already choose projects based on like a fucking algorithm anyway. So why are you there? Let's just use the algorithm and get rid of you, because you're sucking up so much of the
More
cost
importantly, why are
anyway.
you getting the most money out of everything?
Yeah, you're
being
getting
made?
massive amounts of money, and it's like, why? Because you just point to an algorithm and say, let's do the algorithm. Well, how about let's just have the algorithm and get rid of you then?
Mhm.
Or your
Fuck
paycheck.
you. Yeah. But no, I had such a good time with this movie. I think it was great. Also, I love that it's a blockbuster that isn't like an action film. You
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
And there really
it's
wasn't.
also
I
a
really like
family
that.
movie, you know? That's
Yeah.
also
Mhm.
another layer too. And it's not frenetically paced. It's very deliberately paced as well. In a lot of ways, this completely felt to me like I got into a time machine. Just first and foremost, I do want to say I co-sign everything you just said, Peter. And I also want to add to the thought that you had already elaborated on. I'm going to put more of an emphasis on it. To me, this is what happens when all the stars align and you have generational talent working on all levers of this particular project. You have directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Check. You've got a world-class producer, Amy Pascal. Check. You've got an amazing screenplay writer, Drew Goddard. Check. A great leading man, Ryan Gosling. Check. You have, for me, an amazing composer, Daniel Pemberton, doing the score. Check. And you also have Greg Fraser doing the cinematography. Like, check, 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 ching, ching, ching. Like, literally, all of these people are amazing, just individuals in their craft. And when you put all of it together, not only do you have a well-directed movie, a well-acted movie, a well-written movie, but also an amazingly beautifully shot film. And it's not just like the ones that are full of life and color, but that in and of itself is a novelty, right? It's full of life and color. Oh, who knew we could have that in movies again?
It's not gray sludge.
Mhm.
It's not gray
And then-
sludge, the movie.
And of course, Lord and Miller take the opportunity to kind of like, they have not had an opportunity to do a live action movie since 22 Jump Street over 10 years ago. So you could tell there was an excitement there. And I love some of the choices and how they were moving the camera, how literally how everything was shot. And that's not even getting to mention a lot of the practicality when it comes to Rocky himself. And of course, to say nothing of the fact that they were able to make this whole movie work based on a talented actor like Gosling helping to bring a rock puppet to life and it being a beloved character. I don't care how many movies there have been made. That is never going to be an easy feat, but they made every bit of that believable throughout every bit of the way. And I also do want to shout out Sandra Hüller, who was a bit of a quiet performance, but wow, really, really good supporting performance. Because she was somber and maybe a touch cold, but she was a lot more warm than I expected that character to be.
Her character had a lot of life to it.
That karaoke scene is something you only get. You only get with she brought it, but also because you have Lord and Miller, who are always open to scenes like that. I could tell that there were some moments that were a little bit improvised, either because they let Gosling go or they let Hüller go. But that's movie magic, and I cannot believe Kathleen could not see through that, and she fucking fired their asses. I can't believe Lord and Miller are somebody who you would ever fire off of a movie set. Insane to me. All of which is to say, okay, let me bring it down. Not like the movie, just like let me dial it back and not talk so fast. I was genuinely stunned watching this movie because I mentioned earlier, like, it felt like I was in a time machine. To me, it felt like I was taken back to, yes, it's the same writer as The Martian. You could be some Martian vibes. I get that. But I felt very much so that through the process of watching this movie, I was catapulted back in time 10 years ago, where we would get a movie like this a lot more often than we do now. And not just an ordinary movie like this, but a movie that is so well made as this one is, where there were a lot of films that came out that were of the same stature or were in good company with this movie, and the vibes were just all there for it, you know, where there was just such optimism for the future of everything, the future of film. To me, while watching this movie, it completely made me forget about the sad nature and the sad state of things that we are with the business that is movies and the direction that they overall have been taking these last few years. It very much felt like this very well could have been made in 2014 and 2015. And that to me made it all the more magical because it made me believe in the movies again. It made me believe in what storytelling can be. And it gave me a little bit of hope back that there might still be a few people out there that remember how to make a movie and actually have some skill and know how to put it all together, you know?
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would. Good God, it just made me feel so elated. It made me feel so happy watching it and walking out of it. And even as it kept going, even as it took some directions that I wasn't expecting it to, it still stuck the landing. And it ended, and I'm like, and I could feel the people in the room who were watching it with me were like, wow, this was really good. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And that to me is the power of not just like cinema, but the power of original storytelling and a reminder that studio films should always be like this and can be like this more often. But so often the case has been that they've not been that way. I also want to say, I have loved practically all of Ryan Gosling's movies, and I think he has been so underappreciated for the quality of the performance that he brings all the time. I genuinely believe, look, I think Robert Downey Jr. deserved that Oscar, but if it were up to me, I think a comedic performance, a memorable comedic performance is more impressive, and I really do think Ryan Gosling should have been given that award for Ken in Barbie. I'm sorry, not sorry. But that just speaks to the fact that only someone like him could make the characters that he plays work. I do not think that a lot of the characters that he plays can be played just by anybody else other people want to claim. And I also do believe that this is not an overt comedic performance. There's a lot of depth to this performance. I think there's a scene in the middle of the film when he's trying to communicate to Rocky that he's accepted his fate, and then as it plays out how it's going to go, and it goes the other way where like there may be some hope after all, that broke me. And I'm like, good God, this man is an incredible actor, and I'm so sick of people not giving him the credit he deserves for consistently putting out great work, but also in here, to me, it also does feel like this performance and this character is the culmination of all the characters he's played before. Sensational stuff. There were moments where Greg Fraser coming in clutch, as they say, with all the colors and all the moments where I'm just like, this is what I mean. This is what the movies should be. Anyway, David, I know you're going to shower this movie with more praise, but I also want to inform people that you have an added element in this that Peter and I do not have, and that you have read the book, and you bring that to this experience as well. David, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, one question for you guys, though. Well, actually, no. Let me start with this. Interesting that with Peter, that you kept thinking, like, why are we going back to these flashbacks? I didn't have that thought at all because I knew what was going to happen towards the end of it. So, like, I didn't have that problem at all. My only thing, though, is that I did feel the pacing really fast, but that just could have been me knowing what's going to happen.
By the way, real quick. That's a good thing to talk about right now, but I don't know. I felt the pacing, but it didn't feel it ever lost me. It didn't feel like, okay. Peter, I think, was a little bit more feeling the beats of like, okay, we got it. We don't got to be here. I'm not sure why we're still here. I enjoyed all bits of it. I had that thought in the back of my mind as well. But I got to say, I feel this might be something that maybe clicks better the more you watch it. I think the pacing definitely clicked better the second time for me, where I'm like, okay, I think this is long. It is long. It's 2.5 hours, but it never feels like the movie stops or like it's treading water. So,
I mean,
but what I was gonna add is I think there's a 3-hour cut. Originally, this movie was going to be over 3 hours. I think the first cut was over.
It was an assembly cut.
An assembly cut. I don't want to say an official cut, but an assembly cut was over 3 hours. So but I assume that's because there's a lot of story in that book. So.
I mean, not just story, but like so much science.
Detail, right?
Yes. When he first wakes up, he notices something that he drops something, and he notices like, wait a minute. So like he picks it up, keeps dropping it, and he's like, hold on. And like he knows the weight of the thing he's holding, drops it, and realizes gravity's different. Why? And so like he does the math. Like it's very detailed, the science of it. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that they skipped over, like there were solar panels on the ship. They did a flashback of how they got those things. There were very specific ones that can grab more energy. There was a big storyline about how, since the sun is dying, obviously our world is going to get colder and colder. So they brought some...
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? As I say, right now, March 27th and record-breaking temperatures. Wouldn't that be nice?
You know what? That reminds me, this is a complete tangent, of a fantastic Twilight Zone episode where a woman is experiencing the horrible heat because the sun is the earth is hurling towards the sun, and it's like post-apocalyptic. And it's awful, and it's god-awful. And it ends with her waking up. It was all a bad dream. What's really happening is the earth is hurling away from the sun, and it is freezing to death. The earth is going to freeze to death. What's the lesson in that? There is none.
I guess.
But it's a great episode. That's what kind of reminds me.
Mm-hmm. No, but yeah, so they get someone who's kind of, I don't know what kind of scientist he was, but they tell him like, how much time do we have? And he's like, 12 years. And they're like, what? It's like, yeah, 12 years until the whole weather changes and it's gonna kill off our livestock, and we're gonna have to be fighting for food. And it's just like, that's not enough time. Like, it's gonna take 11 just to get over there. And so what do we do? So they actually like destroy the polar ice caps to make everything hotter so that we can have more time and all that. It's like a very big moment in the book and all that. And so
Wait, that actually happens?
in the book, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
They nuke the ice caps.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Mm-hmm. They have to, I'm telling you, the science is very detailed as to how they get up there, how they're gonna survive, even details about Rocky's planet and how it works. And
How
so,
much more time did the book say? How much more time it gave them by nuking the ice caps?
I think maybe might have doubled it. I can't remember the exact numbers. I might have been wrong about like the 12 years of it. But
How did that work? Okay, I know this is not with the movie, but I have a question, and you might be able to answer this. And I know it's walking all over your opening thoughts, but I have this in my mind. The ending, when Sandra Hüller is watching the video that Ryan got, that Grace sent back. What's happening in that scene? How many years later is it? Is it just that they're in the Antarctic somewhere, or has the world really gotten colder?
no, the world has gotten colder. It is almost.
See, I thought they were just in the Arctic.
No, they.
That's the way I thought it.
I mean, you could think that. I think that's perfectly fine, but it's more than likely it's gotten a lot colder. I think for the movie they might have stretched the timeline a bit, but it's supposed to be maybe 25, 30 years have passed for them. Unlike
No way.
Grace, yeah.
No, because in the movie they say it's like in 30 years. That's, well, I guess no.
That's
they
when
say,
it starts to get colder. But they said but again, though, they might have just moved the timeline a bit for the movie,
Right.
or in that moment, it could have been Grace being like, doesn't want to worry them too much, so he kind of just makes up a number on his head. But,
No, because they say it when they're talking to Hüller.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, she's like, half or like a quarter of the human population is going to starve within, was it 30 years or
Mm-hmm.
or 15?
less than 30 years, yeah.
Yeah,
less than 30 years.
Mhm.
But
So,
she's
David-
like, that's if we all cooperate, which isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'd say half the population. Yeah.
You're telling me that moment happens 25 years later?
Yeah, around there.
She looks the same to me.
No, she doesn't. She looked
She
older.
was
She looked
old.
older.
She was
Did she
old.
look she did not look older.
She was old. She
Maybe
had white
I
hair.
respect women and you guys don't, but
I think they purposely dressed her and made her look older. Like the makeup and the hair was definitely a lot grayer. That's why,
Mhm.
to me, okay, that threw me off because it made me feel like, oh fuck, the planet did get a lot colder then. Not, and Peter was like, no, I'm sure they were just in the Arctic. But what threw me off was that the ship was designed. They had like wipers that were like wiping the ice off of the windows.
Mm.
So, I mean, then how were they able to save the planet then?
That was. I
was
mean,
it-
that's kind of. I know some people were kind of like, oh, it's not like overly cynical about the world, but like, the book was pretty, like, adamant that we're not gonna get our shit together once you leave. Like, once you're gone, like you're our Hail Mary, but you're not gonna be the one suffering like we are. You know, the nations aren't gonna like stick together as well as you're gonna think it is. Like they're gonna fight for their own. They want to like keep their own safe. We're gonna struggle and all that. And so that scene in the movie is not in the book at all. What happens in the end? Spoilers for the book. But Grace is in Rocky's planet, and I won't go into detail about the science of it, but he's in that dome that you see in the movie, and Rocky sees him. He's on the outside of it, and he goes, "We just checked. Your sun got brighter. It's like, I don't know, 5% brighter or something." And Grace is like, "Oh my god!" It like is just the biggest relief. And Rocky says, "They got their shit together, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah," because that was the scary part when he like releases those beetles, those pods with the information. It's like, if they make it, hopefully the Earth gets their shit together and helps the planet. and that was going to be the biggest mystery of it all. I almost wish they didn't have that scene. But I understand why they did it in the movie. And so I love that moment in the book because I listened to the audiobook also, and the narrator for that does a fantastic job. His voice breaks when he's just like, oh my God. Like he's crying and everything. And, Grace is actually crying, and Rocky's like, are those happy tears? And he's like, yes, there's very happy tears. And so I kind of wish the movie was a bit more cynical about like what's going to happen once he leaves and all that, like how the world's going to react. But I understand. That's actually what really interesting about this movie for someone who read the book first. I really can't tell you like which one's more better. Like both are so good in their own rights. Yes, that's the best thing. Like when the whole time I'm watching this movie, I was never really like, oh, I really wish they would have added this scene and all that. But it's like, no, I understand every decision you guys made from the changes of the book, because it's the most important thing about this movie is like it's that love of science. It's like it is science that's gonna save this fucking planet, and I think there is a line like that, wasn't it? Science the shit out of it. Maybe that was just in the book.
That was a Martian.
Okay, the Martian. Okay, I think it might have been in the book in this one too, but yeah. And so everything about this movie is I love. I don't mind the changes of it. And if you just want more, like the book is right there. You'll get more science. You get more Rocky, more Grace, and all that. Just it is absolutely a fantastic book. And yeah, the movie surprised me visually. The whole inside of the ship, Rocky's ship, and how comedic it was when you see the outside of it and just all the lighting of it. I love that moment where I think it was Grace catching that first canister from Rocky, and you just see his shadow on the ship going like, yeah. And I was like, dude, that's really cool. Like it's almost cartoonish in a way.
Yeah.
And
that's Lord and Miller for you.
Yeah,
that's their trademark, and I think they should be commended for being able to include things like that and still not losing people. Because this is not really a comedy, not an overt comedy. There's comedy in it, but it's like not really a comedy, and that's actually pretty. I guess you could say that's like showing their directorial growth, as well as artists, because for the most part they were known for making comedies, and then Spider-Verse came along, and they're funny, but they're not just comedies. They have a lot more dramatic characterization at play, and I guess you could say that they brought that experience and skill set into this movie. So
and
they're great filmmakers. They really are.
Yeah, for sure. And just everything about it visually was a complete surprise. The catching the astrophage moment, it blew me away. One of the most beautiful scenes, and something I never imagined from the book. So, yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what our friend Alexis thinks about it. I feel like she'd like it. I just but sometimes she has some really interesting takes. But then again, so do we all. Most of the time we can get on the same page, but sometimes some of us, I mean, Peter's going to be that way.
Right, and some of us are wrong.
Peter's going to be that way when Steven Spielberg releases a new movie this year. He's going to shit all over it. It's going to have some very negative things to say. He'll say,
I've just shown a love of sci-fi and aliens and all the sorts.
Yeah, and you're gonna find something about it to complain about. You already told me that you're not vibing with Yamish Kaminsky's beautiful cinematography. Which
it's
is,
not
I think,
the
in
cinematography. It's the visual.
The lighting.
The lighting's not bad. There's just a bluish hue, kind of, to everything Spielberg does nowadays. That I don't know. I'm not.
See what I mean?
About.
Exhibit A. So get ready for that nonsense.
The CG's a little iffy, Why can't we just have a positive moment?
We were.
Why is that so
hard?
We
did. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot of naysayers definitely when that happens. But I gotta tell you though, guys. I think this is a really positive sign for a lot of ways. The fact that the movie year started and we're getting a lot of these, just like wow, this is like I didn't think we would ever watch these again. But then with Project Hail Mary, this is a genuinely special movie, and I think it speaks to its success that all of us are just like chomping at the bit to watch it again, and at least thinking about watching it again. And has like stayed with us. I think to me, for any audience member, for anyone that likes movies, the movies that you like the best are not the ones that you think about, like, okay, what are the best of the best? But the films that have really made an impact with you are where, like, randomly they'll just pop back into your head and you're like, wow, that really did have, like, a profound effect. Or I'm just like, there's something about that movie that leads me to think about it long after I'd seen it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that we walk out of this and like we just get that feeling of, wait, I have to watch this movie again because visually pretty, as there's probably things I missed that I'll probably catch on the second viewing. And that's, that's kind of what these executives need to learn. It's like not about watching it that first time. It's about going back to it. And yeah, we'll see when we get another one like that. Hopefully we do.
Well, I'm hoping we don't have to wait all the way till that.
I know.
Yeah, that's the end of the year. There's a lot more movies coming out this year, so we'll see how this turns out. But so far, I gotta tell you, already off the bat, this year is looking a lot more promising than the last two combined. At least the last two were at this point in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't want to speak too soon, but I guess I just did, didn't I? Oh well. Okay, guys, we're at 3 hours, and I think it's time to cut the show. Especially since David, you got to make your way over to the AMC to watch this again. You got to make that appointment. So I want to end this as always by thanking the listeners for being here and watching. I want to thank Peter for coming back, and I got to tell you, I think this podcast alone is evidence that you are sorely missed, and I think we could use a lot more of you on the show, and it would be nice if you could, do that and be here.
All right, then stop blocking me from being on the podcast, and that'll happen.
I think it's important in 2026 to allow people to hold on to their truths, no matter how diluted they are. Anywho, that'll do it for us today. Thank you for watching. Stay under our red spotlight for more. We got more content coming your way. Don't you forget about us and our wonderful show here. But we also have got reactions to High School Musical. We've got a Hannah Montana thing coming up pretty soon. And, of course, the return of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back in April.
Just kept getting worse.
And don't forget also our Spielberg Files series happening right here on this channel. The next couple of films are going to be anything from, I believe, The Temple of Doom and Onward.
Of which I was not invited to.
Anywho, that'll be our show, and that's all the content that we've got coming up for you and more. It's going to be an exciting time here in 2026. I'm hoping Peter can be a part of it, but only time will tell if he chooses to partake in those particular events. That's it for us, guys. Bye.
Bye.